What's up, everyone? My name is Fitz, host of the Let's Argue podcast. Hope you're having a great Friday. Excited for this episode. A lot has happened in the last week, and we're going to touch on a lot of things today. So I'm sure, as many of you know, P Diddy, Puff, I don't know what he goes by officially now, but his homes were raided earlier this week. Apparently, his sons were at the home when at one of the homes and they were raided. I think there was a home in Miami, a home in Los Angeles. And there's a lot of information coming out right now. A lot of information, and we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about police brutality, and we're going to go over some things that the NAACP is saying are big wins for Black people in 2023. That these were what we accomplished in 2023, essentially. So we have a packed episode. We're going to probably stay on for about an hour. Later on in the stream, if you want to come up and give your perspective, I'll drop the link in the comment section. But yeah, so just to give you an overview of what's essentially going on based on my understanding, P Diddy is out here allegedly, committing sex crimes. That's the narrative that's being pushed. He's allegedly out here committing sex crimes, and he is, based on many women's accounts, an abusive person, and he is not really who he appears to be on the surface. And we're going to get into how this fits into a larger picture. But before we do that, make sure you hit the like button, comment, subscribe, show support to the channel. I'm going to bring the co-host Ty up. He's going to give you his intro, and then we're going to get into it. We got Ty in the building. What up?
Yo, what's crack-a-lacking, my guy? No Diddy. You feel me?
Hey.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Ty. Holla at your boy on the social media _Wolfwagon_. All your dog training tips and needs. Got the K9 Chronicles on the blog coming out every week. We might bump it up to twice a week this time. Just because we got a lot of ideas, a lot of stuff pouring out. Holla at your boy. Got some videos dropping. Dropped 2 new videos actually on the Instagram page. It's been going up. We've been up, baby.
Nice. And I forgot to mention my Instagram. Hit me up on Instagram at Skits by Fitz. Funny content, thought-provoking content dropping all the time. Also, some stuff I post on there that I don't post on YouTube and vice versa. So you want to make sure following on all the channels. All right, so
yes, sir.
Puff, man, Diddy, I'll be missing you. He out here in
this guy stupid, boy.
He out here in these streets.
Is that the only song you know by Diddy?
That's the only song I know by Diddy. I know him from Biggie. That's pretty much it.
So growing up on the West, right, where you're from, your hometown, did y'all not really? Because for me, being in the South, we had the music kind of just transferred down. You feel me? But for y'all, it didn't really get over there, right?
I don't think it's not that it wasn't over there. I think I didn't really listen to it. I was mainly into like Xbox and stuff, and I really didn't start listening to rap until the Carter 3 Lil Wayne came out. Like that's like, you hear songs here and there on the radio and stuff, but I didn't actively start looking for rap music until Lil Wayne, and then even then I didn't look for it. People were just playing it. But yeah, P Diddy, I don't really know him for his music. I know him for like his business and stuff like that. And it's unfortunate that a lot of these things are coming out. And I'm gonna show some things that 50 Cent has been talking about, because he's been someone that's kind of been, I don't want to say on his neck for a while, but
no, Diddy.
he's definitely been somebody that has been speaking out against some of the things that P Diddy has been doing over his career. One of which he had an interview on the Breakfast Club, and he had brought up P Diddy, and I'll show that right. All right, let's see.
I always laugh at the video of him and Meek Mill. You doing it, Daddy? You doing it?
Yeah, it's like,
yo,
he be doing too much. All right. So this is 50 Cent apparently exposing Diddy, calling them gay.
He's saying it's like fruity. He said something fabulous and he goes, yo, no, but me and you, we ain't party. Like, we need to party. What are you talking about? And when people say that to me, I get a little uncomfortable. Like, when you see Jadakiss put his head down, like, while we stuck here right now, and the cameras is rolling, everybody see, don't make like it's just me, man. Fluffy do some like a little fluffy stuff
Now
going
you guys
on. Like he said something to me one time, a long time ago. He told me to take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say?
yo.
So you gonna make me mess up the what? Let me get out. No, dude, take me. That's what a guy says to a girl.
I asked 50 about that. And he said you did the same thing to him. You asked him to take him shopping.
Yeah, I thought he needed some clothes. What? I'm a nice guy. I don't have no beef with Fifth. He loves me. Y'all can't see that he loves me. But see, you really hold on. You really think that's hate? You know he loves me. I don't think he like it. You know he loves me. I don't think.
Oh,
Envy. I don't think he liked it.
he said, Valiant said, this is similar to TD Jakes. Pastor Jakes got his cheeks busted wide open. Pastor Jakes' cheeks probably look like the Grand Canyon.
I ain't heard that one. I thought that was part of the video with somebody commented.
Too many people getting their wigs split and cheeks busted in Hollywood. It's getting out of control.
Yep.
Have a blessed day. Yeah, I mean,
Assalamu alaikum.
It's crazy because, and I want to say this. I don't want to make it about P Diddy being gay, right? Because I really don't care either way what it is. But some kind of what Valiant Thor was just saying. It does seem like there is a lot of aggressive, I don't want to say homosexuality, but this culture of these men that are appearing to be heterosexual on the surface, black men being heterosexual on the surface, but then behind closed doors, there's these orgies, sex parties, all of this hypersexual stuff going on, and many times it manifests as criminal behavior. I mean, my thing is, why now? Why is this starting to come out now? Because this has been talked about for years. I personally think it's an election year. I want to hear from you. Why do you think that it's coming out now?
Fitz had an orgy when he was in college. Just let you guys know. He's been doing the P Diddy for a while.
Hey,
yeah, I think it has to do with that. I think it has to do with the list that came out. What's it? Epstein list? Is how you pronounce his name? Epstein?
Yeah,
or something like that. I think it has to do with that because he's become like the scapegoat in a sense because it's easier to destroy him being a black man, right? Then we have to take that into account too. And he's becoming the fall person for everybody. Because a lot of this has been going on for years. I mean, him, not just him, but other people. There's a whole gang of this type of stuff going on. But he's just the easier target to destroy.
See, maybe it has something to do with the Epstein list, but my thing that I want to connect is this. I think it's coming out because it's an election year, because the media wants to start pushing certain narratives. They want to push the homosexual agenda. They want to push the Me Too agenda. They want to push all these different agendas, and this story encompasses all of that. On the homosexual side, there's going to be people saying negative things about gay people because P. Diddy is allegedly engaging in gay behavior, homosexual behavior, and there's going to be a lot of bashing of gay people online, and they're going to target that. So it has that component of the story so they can, push that side of it and garner attention for that. Also, I think that from the Me Too side, that this has Me Too written all over it, because there's a lot of women coming forward talking about he abused them. I think his ex-girlfriend Cassie filed a civil lawsuit in 2023 December, and it was settled within a day, where she alleges that there was abuse. She alleges that pretty much he would hire male prostitutes to have sex with her while he watched and masturbated, and he was very abusive, things like that. So I think that this story has all of the components of a political firestorm that also, I think, touches on the border crisis and illegal immigration, because one of the problems with illegal immigration is sex trafficking, and this story seems to have some components of sex trafficking in it. So that opens the door for them to talk about sex trafficking off of this case, right? So it's not just Democrat. The Republicans get something out of the story too. And I don't think that anyone in their right mind would argue that when these types of stories, such as, you know, a P Diddy, a Bill Cosby, whatever star, right? When a public story like this comes to light with law enforcement involved, they are definitely in contact with the media, trying to figure out how this is going to affect larger things. And so I think that there was a conversation had. This is an election year. How is this going to look? Is this going to push Black voters away from us, towards us? What is this going to mean when they start talking about sex trafficking and illegal immigration? What is it going to mean when they start talking about all these different things? I think this was the perfect time for them to do it. On top of the fact, I don't know, did you see that new documentary about the Nickelodeon child actors?
I've heard bits and pieces of it. I haven't watched it and probably won't watch it because it doesn't really surprise me. It always comes out when people aren't getting paid. When the money runs out is when they start telling the secrets, you know, crying like wolf. The kind of same thing with R. Kelly. These women came out 30, 40 years later to say, hey, he did this, this, and this. But it's like, you took the money. So not to dismiss their trauma, but you took the money in exchange for that. So,
well, here's the interesting thing about the Nickelodeon thing. Part of it was women that worked there, but another part of it was children that were children at the time, and now they're telling their story. So I think I look at it differently, like when something happens to a child versus an adult, and they're doing it for, you know, like money and stuff like that. But a large part of the documentary was about sexual harassment from the workers, which it kept going back and forth between the children and the workers, and they were trying to connect it. But the point that I'm making is that, you know, media is released at a certain time for a reason. I think this P Diddy case is going to get a lot uglier. I think that there's a lot fueling it. Like I'll show a video now where Cat Williams was talking about this in his interview, his famous Shay Shay interview that we covered. So make sure you go check that. But here's what
I will let you tell it.
No, you're
I want you to tell it.
You really are the best. You're proving it here today. As much as I'm proving it, you proving it. You proving it.
Somebody I know.
Yeah, that wasn't the thing. It wasn't. People say that he lost $50 million. No, that's not even close to what happened to this dude. And until you understand what happened to the dude, you don't understand what happened. Like, no, not they offered him $50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down $50 million? Now I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Kid, I need milk.
You gotta tell him no.
So there's another example of, you know, P Diddy trying to party with people, trying to, and another part of the story is, I guess, he films people doing things and then uses it as leverage against them to control them. That's allegedly what they're saying he does. And so the reason I wanted to talk about this is not just for sensationalism, but it's for accountability.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's so many people that they're not doing the right thing, whether it's in their business, whether it's in their life, but they get away with it. See, P Diddy, if he did these things, it seems like, you know, there was the sense of I'm getting away with it. I'm getting away with it. And then you keep doing it and you keep doing it and you keep doing it and you don't get caught and you don't get caught. So then it empowers you. And this leads into a deeper conversation that I want to have, because it is an election year. When we talk about race, racism, accountability, what tends to happen is we're rewarded for playing the race card. We're rewarded for blaming it on racism and not taking accountability to the fullest. And we get away with it and we get away with it and we get away with it. We're in school, we get away with it. People hear our sob story. But then we get out in the real world and that sob story is worthless. In other words, it catches up with us. Mm-hmm. And then, boom, everything explodes and we're not where we want to be at. I see the same thing happening in Hollywood with these actors and things like that, where they get away with something for so long and then it catches up with them. Do you think that the Black community has an issue with looking at the future in a constructive way? Do you think that Black men feel like they're untouchable when they reach a certain level of success? Because at the lower levels, at the lower income levels, we're told you only get in trouble because you're Black. Mm-hmm. If you take that same mentality once you have a lot of money and you're like, I should be able to get away with it because white people get away with it. Is that dangerous? Is that something that we should adhere to? What are your thoughts?
I think it cripples Black men once they get to a certain financial status, economic status, because they do start to have that mentality of like, well, I'm in these rooms with these people who are powerful. I got connections. I'm networking. You know, I'm feeling like God, right? And then we see them pretty much go downhill like P Diddy, because his name has been in allegations about Tupac and, you know, that whole situation in itself as well, and Biggie and all those things. So I don't know. Black men get into their head when they get to a level like this. And it is dangerous because you destroy everything you worked for. You destroy your legacy. You destroy your look at his kids. Imagine being his kids and the police is running up in your house. Like your daddy get accused of, you know, being this and doing that and that and this, and it destroys the Black home.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think another thing that it does is it connects Black men and white men. So for instance, it's like a lot of the things that are happening at these higher levels, they're mainly happening by white men. And it seems like Black men want to be a part of it because that's just what you do at this level. And I think it sets a dangerous precedent for like younger people, younger stars, just people that want to come behind the next person. It sets a dangerous precedent, and it says, hey, look, Black men, they're no better than white men, because when they get in a position of power, they're going to hold their community. They're going to take advantage of their community. And I think that's a dangerous message. And I do think that Black men have a responsibility, Black men and women, when they reach a certain level, to at least want to be some symbol of, you know, respect or pride for the Black community. I think I don't know. Do you agree with that? I know we've had past conversations where I think you've kind of said, well, you know, why should they?
Right. Because a lot of people, when you get into a environment like that, it's hard to maintain that type of image, right? And it becomes more about how it benefits them rather than it benefits the community as a whole. Like some of them would do, like P Diddy's done. I think he's done a few things for the Black community. He's done like some drives and donations and all those type of things too. But um, it's always about self rather than us as a whole. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think they should be, if you're going to be in that level and have all that money, stick to your principles, stick to your morals, stick to your values, invest in your community. Because we see what happens when you don't invest and then you get into a situation like this and you really ain't got nobody when your back is against the wall.
Right. And another thing is like the kids, the children actually believe that you're living this lifestyle. And so I remember growing up listening to rap. It wasn't really P Diddy, but it was rap. And all they're talking about is disrespecting women and things like that. And so it's like, do we believe them? Should we believe them? Because it's like they was telling us all along that they don't respect women. And now stories like this come out, and it's like maybe we should start believing these rappers when they say certain things on record. Like, maybe it's not just a song for them. Maybe they're doing these things, and we be thinking there ain't no way they doing that. Ain't no way they drugging women and sleeping with 5-10 women in a night. They just talking. But it seems like more and more of these things when they come out, it's like maybe they really doing these things and we're just so out of their reality that we can't even fathom somebody doing that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't put it past people, and I've recently stopped listening to rap, a lot of rap, because I don't live that lifestyle. I'm not out here slapping hoes, drinking lean, taking pills. I don't do none of that. I've never done any of that. So it's like, what purpose does it serve for me to be listening to that? Because it essentially almost makes you want to go and do those things. Makes you think you're really living that life like they are, or you're at the same level that they are. Guys will say, "Yeah, I got a switch on my Glock," and I'm like, "You don't even got a gun, brother." Like, what you? But it makes you want to get one. It makes you want to live that lifestyle. It makes you want to have that power. That's what it really boils down to, is the power structure. But it's weird, man. You would think that you have all that money. And I think Diddy's from New York, I think. Grow up the way you did, and you get all this. I mean, he got money. When I say money, I'm talking about he's billions probably, at least. At least. There's no way he don't have that much. And my thing is, you can't keep it for yourself, because what are you going to do with it? Once you buy all the cars, go all the places you want to go, eventually you'll get tired of it. I think if he invested it back in the community, he'd be a little bit more involved in positive things rather than the negative stuff. Black men get all that money and then they want to do all those things, slap women, drugs, get into fights. And that's not everybody, but majority of it they are. And it's like, what are we doing? Why do you want to be like the people like the Epsteins of the world? Why do you want to be like them? For what? Other than the power.
Well, and I think a large part of it comes from entitlement. Like we feel like we should have been living like this the whole time. And I think a lot of Black people have a warped perspective of how white people actually live, and then we aspire to do certain things, and then it's like, well, I should be able to do that because I hear that they get away with it. And I think it's a dangerous mindset to have. But I really want to move into police brutality, because much like P Diddy, and this story is going to, I think, lead to some political talks about all the things we just talked about, police brutality is another thing that I'm starting to see is ramping up. I'm starting not ramping up in terms of it's happening more often, but it's being covered in the media more. And this happens during election years because they want to fearmonger Black people into voting for Democrats. That's essentially what it is. So on my feed, on my Instagram feed, I'm starting to see more of the videos where it's like, and it's wild because you watch the videos and you be thinking, oh, wow, this just happened. But then you dig into it and you realize this was a year or two ago. And I always question, like, why are they releasing this now? Why now? Because the footage may have been available already. Why is it getting more coverage now? And then all of a sudden it starts getting coverage. And then there's these protests and riots and things like that. And it wasn't even on your mind. And so I'm starting to see more of that. There was a video of Kyle Rittenhouse, who, you know, for those of you who don't know, the Kenosha shooter, he's nicknamed, went to a Black Lives Matter protest, was protecting a building. He got attacked. He ended up shooting somebody, a couple people or whatever. He got acquitted. He was giving a speech at a college campus. They started kind of protesting the speech, getting very aggressive, chased people that were watching the speech, pretty much chased them around campus, harassing them. Police had to protect them. I say all that to say it really got me thinking about what are the actual numbers around police brutality and how prevalent is it in our community. So based on like the media and the way they report on this, I would think that there's a Black person getting killed every single day by the police unjustifiably. What are your thoughts? Like, is that the narrative or the feeling you get?
Much of the time, yeah.
Especially growing up, like when you really don't know how to do your own research,
Right.
you think like you walk out the door and there's just going to be a cop there ready to shoot and kill you.
Right.
But when you look at the numbers, it would actually be impossible for the cops to kill at least one Black person every single day. There's like 40 million Black people, I think. A little over 40 million Black people in the United States. The reason it would be impossible for a Black person to die every single day by the cops is because there's 365 and a quarter days, I believe, in a year. And last year, there was only 223 Black people total killed by the cops.
Total.
So, right. 223. I've heard people say that police killings of Black people are a genocide. I've heard people say that police killings of Black people, it's a human rights issue, and that Black people are on the brink of extinction, that we're being hunted by the police, right? We're being hunted. This is some pretty bad hunting, in my opinion. If you're only killing, and I don't want to say only to minimize the people that are dying, but 223 people out of 40 plus million, that doesn't seem like it's the epidemic it's being made out to be.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think my personal experience, first off, I never really hated police growing up. Like, I live in a small city and all the police knew us. They always looked out for us. Now, did we do hood rat stuff? Oh, yeah, for sure. Riding illegal in go-karts and all types of things. But for the most part, the police were well respected. They was in the communities. They always looked out for us, always had conversations with us. So I think as I grew older, there was this pressure to hate the police because of what everybody else's ideology of them were. In my adult life, I haven't had much interaction with police. And even if I do, it's respectable all the way. So I say all that to say, like, I get tired of people pushing this narrative of like, it's us versus the police. Now, are there bad police? Yes. But there's a lot of good ones too that don't get the spotlight. It's only the negative ones. And if you out here doing hood rat stuff, and not being where you're supposed to be, you're going to interact with them. And if you decide to get a certain way, then you got to deal with the consequences that come with that. And sometimes people end up dying because of the way they reacted and what they did. So, but looking at statistics from 223 out of 40 million plus people, like
229 people.
220, and that's crazy to hear. And that kind of just extinguishes that argument because, dude, that's when I think of hunting, I think of a certain amount of time every year they're killing as many as they can, like going out and hunting deer and things like that. You're gonna try to kill as much as you can. Really, people get away with 5 sometimes, but to me, it's like you're going out every day, one, or I'm gonna go do this. And this is from 27. That's crazy. From 2017 to 2024. What's the total for that?
In 2017, so it's like it's hovering around 222, and the highest it got in that time was 251 in a year. So
But
let's just round it to 250, 500, 750, 1,000, 1,250, 1,500. 1,750. So it's around 1,500.
Yeah.
1,500 Black people killed by the cops over the last 6 years.
Right.
1,500. And some of these are likely justifiable.
Right.
Like, this isn't saying armed, unarmed. This is just killed. So it's like, but even at 1,500, that's a large stretch from it's genocide, or this is the number one issue in our community and things like that, or this is something that we should even be fighting for. Now, I could understand police brutality versus like from the perspective of getting profiled, getting arrested when you shouldn't. That's a different conversation. But right. the mainstream narrative is that Black people are being killed by the police and hunted and things like that. Yeah, Sean in the building. Sean said,
after you do that, I want to see for the 2024 year. I want to see what it is, the number.
Okay. It says it means there's no consequences for their actions. Officers don't held accountable. Everyone else does. That's the issue. If they got held accountable, that would be different. So let's talk about accountability. Yeah, I think that it's a lot harder to hold a cop accountable for something than a regular civilian. Right. I think that there are laws in place that protect police, and I'm not for those laws. I think if you unjustifiably kill somebody, you should go to prison for it. So the problem is that there's a lot more layers that go into police killings than just a regular homicide, because I think the assumption is that a police officer is not a police officer just to go and hunt people and kill them, and that they're entering dangerous situations, and that there has to be some level of context when addressing what's happening. It's a unique situation because most people aren't running into danger with the power of the government. Like most people aren't running to a problem to try to save somebody. Right. So it's a unique situation. But here's you show those statistics.
Let me see that number. What's it for 2024?
For 2024, it's 32 Black people have been killed.
Okay.
As whenever this was taken, I'm guessing. I think this might be an estimate based on like previous years of what it was at the time. It says data as of March 5th. So this is as of March 5th
of this year.
There were 32 Black people killed.
Yep.
But what I also wanted to show this.
What website you got it off?
Statista.
Statistic. Just
I
for
want to
the
show
viewers.
this right here when we're talking about hunting. This is wolf. These are wolves.
Yep.
These are wolf statistics.
Yep.
Between 500 and 1,000 wolves are killed every year in the U.S. Right? So there are more wolves killed than black people by police. There are more wolves, and look at this. There's only 5,000 to 6,000 wolves. So if 500 wolves get killed in a year, that's 10% of their population. So it's a bigger deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
If 1,000 wolves get killed in a year, that's 20% of their population. It's a bigger, like it's more of a pressing issue. I get it. But when there's so many things going on in the black community, and I'm not saying we should be accepting the fact that black people are being killed unjustifiably, for the ones that are. But what I am saying is, let's be honest about the narrative. Why do you have to tell me we're being hunted? Why do you have to tell me that this is a top issue within Black America? Why do you have to make it seem as if black people should hate the police because we're out here getting hunted and they have a license to kill and they just see black people and they're just killing them? There are, like I said, 40 plus million black people, less than 300 killed in 2023. More of y'all are going to die because you can't control what you eat, or you choose not to control what you eat, than police. More people are going to die because you decided that you wanted to go rob a store or commit a crime and you get caught doing it or something like that. More people are going to die from car accidents. More black people are going to die from smoking cigarettes. Basically, more black people are going to die from things that you can control versus this. So why focus so much on the police brutality thing, the police killings things, and not as much on your health, exercise? Like, why isn't the story, the headline, X% of black people don't go to the gym, it's going to kill X amount of people? Why isn't that the story?
Right.
Because that doesn't drum up the fear. Doesn't quite hit the spot.
Yep. They don't want black people to take accountability. To take accountability, it becomes a scary game.
I'll say it becomes scary before you take accountability. After you take accountability, it's not too scary. It's like, it's better on this side when you take accountability, because now that you're not looking over your shoulder for the boogeyman everywhere you go, and you can just live. You can just live. But I want to get into, because we're at about 40 minutes, I want to get into what the NAACP says black people's biggest wins for 2023 were. Our biggest wins. So the NAACP is an organization that's been around, that's supposedly been fighting for black people, all this stuff. They're like the flagship association for black people. And I want to share with you what they say our biggest wins are. And you let me know if these wins are pushing the needle forward when it comes to the black community. Let's see how we're winning. Let's see what we're doing out here in these.
Losing.
All right.
Losing. That's a nice website, though.
Yeah.
I've been on their website a few times.
10 wins for the black community, published December 28th, 2023. All right. So this is the NAACP highlighting how black people won in 2023.
They got Beyonce on there. That's crazy.
We elected a slew of new black leaders. We showed up and showed out for the elections. As a result, legislative bodies across the country got a bit more diverse. Maryland swore its first black governor. Okay. Voters elected Yusuf, one of the
Yeah.
elected Yusuf Salam, one of the exonerate members of Central Park 5, won a seat on New York City Council.
Okay.
Former Biden White House aide became first Black member of Congress from Rhode Island. Okay.
That's interesting.
Henson has become the first openly gay Black man to win the Virginia state legislature. So it seems like that's more to do with the gay part than the Black man
All
part.
right. Does it really say we showed up and showed out?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
We showed up and showed out for elections. Now we don't necessarily know what results we're going to get. Like, it would be interesting if they quoted some results of like, okay, here's why we should be happy about this, because when we have more Black leaders, we get X, Y, and Z done. But there's none of that. There's no like past results that can inform me of why we should continue doing this. It's just like, we got 3 or 4 Black people.
Right.
3 or 4 Black leaders.
Yeah. They probably won't have a say so.
NAACP are white supremacists. What do you mean by that? Elaborate on that, because I don't really keep up with the NAACP too much.
They put Beyonce put the culture on the map, bro.
Yeah.
What? That's a skip.
So let's rate these on a scale of 1 to 10. I would give this a 5.
Yeah, I'd say 4 or 5. Because I mean, some of those are pretty decent wins, but they said the same thing about Obama when he got into the presidency. So
Beyonce put the culture on the map and in the theaters.
I don't know how.
They say she gave it all on stages around the world. So what did she go out? She went out and did what for the Black culture? Like when she put the culture on the map, that means that we as the Black community, we have this culture. And Beyonce was a representative of the culture. And she went out and spread the culture like this is Christianity or some religion. She went out and evangelized people with the Black culture. So what did she do exactly? What did she do besides put on a great show?
Nothing.
I'm giving that a 2.
Give it a 1.
You showed Florida their anti-Blackness wouldn't be tolerated.
I'm disrespecting my people. Well,
we made a rare move to issue a travel advisory for Florida because of the state's leadership attack on Black Americans, accurate Black history, voting rights, members of the LGBTQ community, immigrants, women. I don't see what any of this has to do with Black people.
Not a damn thing.
Like, past this attack on Black Americans, accurate Black history, voting rights, which, you know, those are up for debate. This other stuff is like just propaganda, just them catering to. Rod Hayes says, this is crazy stuff. Let's argue. Glad you're researching and covering this. God bless. Thank you, Rod. Sean said, so think of BET, the network. They'll feed us the culture and make us feel great. But BET is owned by white people. That's true. BET is owned by white people. NAACP started and ran by white people. Yeah, I'll have to do more research into the NAACP. The biggest group that have been fighting against reparations is the NAACP, California, Washington, Texas, Virginia, Florida. I don't know. There's a lot on their website where they're for reparations. But I'd be interested to know why they're fighting against it. If they are.
We don't need it.
We're broke.
You're broke.
This one I would give a 2.
Yeah,
I give this a 1 because this is below Beyonce.
Because that
traveling
happened.
It's a show.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Tennessee voters chose the Justins again. expelled Black elected officials over their protests for gun reform in the aftermath of a shooting at a Christian school in Nashville. The two were immediately appointed to the seats and then reelected by voters in special elections later in the year. A reminder that voters decide who represents them, not ruling parties of state legislators.
I'll give it a 4.
Yeah,
Just
because
because of the language.
I don't know, like the protest. So they were protesting. I don't know what they were doing to protest. It could have been something that was, over the top.
Right.
Okay, we took Trump to court and won. We sued former President Donald Trump in February 2021 for his role in the January 6th, 2020 attack on the U.S. Capitol, which had nothing to really do with Black people, but okay. The lawsuit alleges violation of a law enacted as part of the Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871, which prohibits conspiracies through use of violence, threats, or intimidation that seek to prevent members of Congress from discharging their official duties. All right, seems like a waste of money.
I give it a 0.
Trump cannot claim immunity from this lawsuit just because he is president at the time. This case, along with others, will continue into 2024. Really doesn't have anything to do with Black people, so I'm going to give that a 2. What do you kids say? Cap, LOL. We deserve reparations. They're standing in the way of Black neighborhoods moving forward because of their NAACP. Black neighborhoods, the NAACP does not have the power to stop Black neighborhoods from moving forward like that. Black people have the power to move neighborhoods forward or not. It's not just about money. It's about caring for your community. Pick up the trash, do your yards, stop piling up 3 or 4 cars on the streets.
And then, with Black people, if we did get reparations, they wouldn't keep it in the community. You'd be hiring different cultures to do the work for you. So you just have a bunch of P Diddy's pretty much.
The Little Mermaid was Black. Oh my God, this is grade A stuff right here.
That was
Little
stupid.
Mermaid.
That was stupid. I'm giving
and
that
the locks, by the way,
0.
The locks were like blonde. So
0 for me. That was stupid.
Yep. I'll give it a 1.
Yeah.
Billions in student loan debt canceled for millions of Americans. This doesn't have anything to do with Black people. Sure, there are some Black people in there, but I don't like when they try to get credit for helping everybody and make it seem like it was specifically for Black people. Mm-hmm. Whatever credit you're going to take as something that was for Black people, it needs to have been specifically for Black people or disproportionately affected Black people in a certain way. But they're not even quoting Black statistics right here. Mm-hmm. They've given no information on how many Black students it helped and things like that. So This is a 0 because this is more broadly speaking.
And most of that was for private lenders. So
right. And people that were scammed from their college. So
you Alabama, Florida, North Carolina.
Black voters comprise the majority. We're keeping tabs on outstanding cases as the country prepares for the 2024 elections. So
I'm gonna give that a 1. Being from those areas, a lot of the Black people there, they do vote. They just don't vote Democrat, and they have a different set of values and morals and principles than other states with their culture of Black people. So they just want people to vote a certain way. I don't think they're suppressing or fighting unconstitutional voting maps. So
I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4 just because I think that, and I don't think the NAACP had anything to do with this. I don't know, but I know that gerrymandering is a big thing. I'd have to look more into the Alabama thing, but it's like, yeah. We defended our history and fought book bans.
trash.
You fought book bans in schools, but the thing is that, one, and I have this argument all the time, why do you want white women teaching Black children about Black history? But also, two, the book bans are just in the schools, based on my understanding. So
Correct.
what's stopping you from buying that book for your own child and having them read it outside of school?
Right.
Which
And
they don't
or-
even have to read it outside of school. They could bring it with them to school. The school just isn't going to have the book.
Correct.
But it's like, you can spend the money to buy that book for your child if you want them to read it that bad. So I don't really look at this as something that is a real obstacle, because the book is still available outside of the school. Now, if this was a ban that banned the book in the United States, okay. But if you are aware of the book, like if you have a list of the banned books, yes, is it inconvenient that you have to go buy it now? Sure. Okay, that's a conversation. But is that child no longer able to read it? No, because you could go buy it.
Right. Good old DeSantis.
I'll give this a 3.
Give it a 2.
We work to make sure Black communities are taken care of when the disaster strikes.
I don't know about partnership with American Red Cross. I give it a 5 just because of the people in New Orleans is finally receiving a lot of funds for when Hurricane Katrina happened and some of the other natural disasters that happened after it. So, what's that say? Skits by Fitz is fighting for Black American issues. He's an LLC.
Yeah. It says there's no organization fighting for Black American issues, and that's the issue. Name one. They're all a cover for white supremacy. Super trash.
Well, we've let, it's kind of like similar to the conversation about the hair and how people of Oriental descent are taking over that arena, right? We've allowed them to do that, just as we've allowed other cultures to fund Black organizations. I think BLM is funded by white people. I think they took funding from white people. So, I mean, that's kind of it is.
All right, we have about, that's the end of the list. We have about 5 to 10 minutes if anyone wants to come up and share their perspective or challenge anything we said. Got a little bit of time, but if not, we'll probably, we covered a lot in this episode.
Black and brown people shouldn't be going to big name banks like Wells Fargo anyways. So it really doesn't matter. Correct.
You got Sean in the building. How you doing?
Yo.
I'm good. What's up with y'all? How y'all doing?
What up?
Living good. We're living under the thumb of the white man.
That's what's up. About time you came to the good side.
Oh.
What are your thoughts on the topic today?
Which one? I missed the Puffy part, the Diddy part.
Diddy's allegedly out here sex trafficking abusing women, and we touched on police brutality a little bit. I think you had come in during that part of it, and then now we were just talking about the NAACP and what I would consider their low standards for what they've achieved for Black people, or what Black people have achieved. We got C Dot in the building.
Yeah, NAACP, man. They're like I said, they're founded by white people, man. They're cover for white supremacy. I will forever say that. But that's America, though. Like, I don't support those companies when they, blackface. So they got somebody that look like the people, but they have the agenda of white supremacy. So when you're pushing the agenda of, communities and Black families and such forward, they're against that. So the issue when I be talking about pushing the agenda and, how it's hard, because they literally have people donating. So when when people say, oh, we can just do it, they have billionaire donors, and on one side pushing an agenda, on the other side it can't just be, well, we just pick up trash. It don't work that way. They literally, it's a capitalistic country. We need a capitalistic something to challenge that. And what happens more times than not is the people that have access to capital, those donations go toward what they've been going for as long as I've been alive, 41 years. As long as it's, more times than not, they're going to have, even if it's Black people, they're white supremacy minded. We have to have our own. We have to have our own bank, have our own financing, have our own agenda, our own charters. That's why I talk about the financial part, because anything beyond the financial part is just man, I wish it's like a merry world that we don't live in. It's like what it should be, and maybe our kids will see what it should be. My point to everybody is it's not there right now, and it's not going to. And I'm saying this to y'all, it's not going to move in a way because people aren't calling out what this stuff is, white supremacy, and because of that, nobody is chipping. We just talk about wealth, generational wealth. We have to be generational, like fighting white supremacy. And if it's not generational, it's one person or people or a movement or a year just saying, hey man, it's bad over here. But when we all pass away, everybody else is going along to get along. And when people do that, they keep white supremacy where it is. That's why I don't, when it comes to Puffy, white supremacist in the music industry, like it's not no different. He's Black, but Puffy ain't got no money. Our Black people don't have no money. Our celebrities don't have no money. The Black people that they want us to look up to, the Puffy, the Jay-Z, the Tyler Perry, they are a billionaire on branding. Kanye, that's why they can do a smear campaign against Kanye and make him lose $800 million in an hour or so. You can't get Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. They hate Elon Musk. They talk about him every day. But tell me how much of the wealth has he lost? You can't tell me that, because he doesn't have a brand billionaire status. He has product. So our Black billionaires, we don't make nothing. They got Jay-Z's brand with this brand with Adidas with. So when they don't want you to be in that position no more, like Puffy was a billionaire, he's a marketer. And when they don't want that marketer to be in head of stuff, they take it away. That's a problem.
Doesn't that come down to personal business decisions that those individuals make? So for instance, Elon Musk chose to run companies that were centered around space, centered around cars, renewable energies, and things like that. And it wasn't necessarily just him buying into or being an investor in a company and things like that. Like, these are companies that he runs, operates. They're not just like partnership deals, like it sounds like you're saying with P Diddy and with like Kanye West or Jay-Z. These are actually companies that produce products that Elon Musk is the owner of. It's not just like a ownership. So are you saying that they couldn't do that if they wanted to?
I'm saying they couldn't do it. I'm saying when you get to a certain amount of wealth or privilege, they have to allow you to be a part of. So imagine, I'll use myself. The reason why I left the cell phone industry is because I always said, man, I worked hard and I was showing the numbers and I was very good. But it got to a point where it was a good old boy club. And when you're not a good old boy, you know, they'll make you a manager of the store. They may make you a GM, but there's a certain point where you can't exceed a company ladder, right? Look at that on the wealth side, or the NBA or the NFL, right? When it comes to buying a team, they have 30 owners. To buy an NFL team, I can't. If I had the money to buy it, I couldn't buy it because they have to allow me to be able to buy a team. That's how wealth works. That's the part people don't really understand. Wealth is, they have to let you, you know. So will they let Kanye, you know, get a brand deal? Yeah. Will they let Puffy get a brand deal? Yeah. Will they let Jay-Z and Armadale and such and Rihanna and Fendi, and will they let the partnerships? Of course. But will they let these people sell products to the point where their brand doesn't matter? No, they won't do that. They won't allow.
I don't think that. So it sounds like what you're talking about is that, for instance, Elon Musk, they let him start a car company, or they let him start a space company. But that's not really what happened. He started those companies with his own money, and he chose to do that. It's not like
he had to get licenses, and he had to get approvals, he had to get state regulations. What you're talking about is the foundation of the LLC, the corporation. There's a certain point where he has to get and let in to be able to get these different
but
states.
What evidence do you have that Black people are trying to start, for instance, space companies, and they're not allowed to start them, or like a car company?
The first owner of BET wasn't able to do it. When he first sold BET, the next thing he wanted to get into was the space system down here in DC. He wasn't able to get into that because he wasn't. While he was running the network, he made a couple people bad that was in control of this DC market when it came to regulations. To the point where he left. That's the time where DC went to New York. Why did DC go to New York? Why did BET go to New York? Because he burnt, quote unquote, so many bridges down in the DC area. He just wanted to start in the new city. He became a billionaire off that sale, and that $1 billion didn't allow him to supersede the system in DC. They have to allow you to be able to get involved in that. Elon Musk is South African. You know, everybody else is a white guy. I don't know where they're from, but they're white. This is it's the good old boy club. I'm gonna let you in.
But nobody gave it to Elon Musk. He spent his own money, and
he doubled down.
He spent his own money, and multiple times the company was on the brink of failure. And it wasn't like the way you're making it seem like is over here you don't have to work for it, and over here, no matter how hard you work for it, you can't get it because
it ain't a work for it. It's the equal. I want the equal. I want Puffy or our billionaires to have the same equality that Elon Musk is going to have with his companies.
But just because you're a billionaire, that doesn't, like, if Jay-Z wanted to go start a car company, that doesn't mean just because it would be unsuccessful that it's because he's Black. It could be that he doesn't have the background that Elon Musk has, where Elon Musk literally went to school for physics and was literally writing computer programming as a teenager. And so he already has the background in it. So it's like there's other factors besides your race that could explain why somebody wouldn't be successful.
Because you can't give me an example of a Black person that's been able to break it. You can't give me who's the Black Elon Musk. Jeff Bezos.
There's only one. There's only one Elon Musk. Like, there's not.
What's the Black version of that?
That question doesn't make any sense, because that'd be like saying who's the white LeBron James. That doesn't make any sense. LeBron James is a rarity among rarities. So is Elon Musk.
You're talking about a financial field that you're telling me is equal. LeBron James is 6'9",
no field is equal, because people have different skill sets and people have different backgrounds. It's definitely not equal. I can't go out and start a car company today and be like, I'm the next Tesla because I'm Black. I mean, like,
you got to build it.
Huh?
You got to build it.
You have to build it, and Elon Musk getting to the point to where he has the most valuable company in the world was not because it was given to him.
What I'm saying is, to get to that part, what you just said, the most profitable company in the world, You don't get there without people unlocking the doors for you and allowing you to be able to do stuff that we're not allowed and forfeited, given the opportunities to do with our companies. Our companies have plateaus. Like
have you looked into it? Have you looked into how Tesla and SpaceX were actually built?
Yeah, that's what I do. I deal with companies in financing, funding, licenses, registrations around the country. Like that. That's the part of, I'm an accredited investor in America. So to be an accredited investor, I'll offer to invest in stuff that y'all ain't got no access to. You got to have a net worth of 1 million, or you got to make 200,000 for 2 years in a row. Even in me saying that, being an accredited investor, there's a level for that. So I can invest in the next Tesla, SpaceX, such and such. You all can, because they don't let regular people invest in that. That's the question that if I was y'all, I would be asking. Well, wait a minute, why can't I invest in because there's a level to it. They have to allow you to
the reason that those are set in place is because those investments are highly risky, and they don't want the general population to be taken advantage of.
Is it high risk, or is it is it letting people? Is it a plateau?
It's more speculative, because a lot of, like a Tesla, when it's first getting off the ground, Elon Musk was even saying to his close friends, don't invest in this, because there's less than a 10% chance that it's going to work out. These are very, just like Grant Cardone, he tries to recruit accredited investors, because they're investing in things that are very speculative, and they're not as safe for the average person, that they're spending their life savings to do this. Whereas
that's another way to keep people that can't afford it out, and people that can afford it or get, and keep in mind, a lot of people that invest don't invest their own money. So it's still no different from anybody else. It's not like we coming out with our own money. We get funding and we put it into a deal. That's the same thing that you can do. My fight is to wake people up. Like, this stuff ain't fair.
If that investment doesn't work out, you're still on the hook for that money.
Of course.
The average person that can't get that money back to be able to pay the payments, they're pretty much dead in the water and bankrupt or in debt the rest of their life.
Do you think you would be able to make a sound investment if you were given the opportunity with deals coming across your email? If you wanted to, do you think you would be able to weigh what's the good and the bad one, knowing that it's a risk? You may or may not, like, just you being you.
I think I don't. If I'm making an investment, I'm not going to make an investment to where if I lose this investment, it messes up the rest of my life.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. If you're talking about somebody who, let's say, makes $20,000, $30,000 a year, and they're doing this speculative investing where they're investing in something for $2 million, and if it doesn't work out, they have $2 million worth of debt now. They
couldn't afford that. That's they won't be able to do that. Nobody will lend them that type of money in nowhere on the world. My point is, we should, as American citizens, we should have the options to invest in whatever we choose. And if we lose, we lose. There's no different than playing a lottery. They don't cap the lottery. They don't say, well, you may lose and you have a gambling habit. They still build these casinos. They don't care about us or what we may or may not lose. That they'll allow us to do. They'll allow us to do the casino stuff, but when it comes to actually building wealth, we don't get the options for that. We have to have a net worth of $1 million. And like I said on one of the other broadcasts, people, majority of Americans, they have a single family home, and they say, well, that's my asset. And I'm telling people, well, no, that's not your asset, because the federal government says they don't even include your primary residence when they're doing your net worth. They can't count your primary residence. So what does that mean, Sean? That means you got your credit up, you got your bank loan, and you got your $200,000-$300,000 home, but they won't even count that towards your net worth. So you have to get $1 million plus your $300,000. Like, the game is cold-blooded, and that's my point. The game is cold-blooded, but that's not to say that we still don't have the option to invest. If we lose it, we lose it. But if I go to a casino, they don't stop me. If I bet on sports, they don't stop me. When I was working for AT&T, I sold them iPhones to people that had to pay their rent. They didn't stop me from doing that. Like, America's full of choices, but when it comes to the big boy choices, now they care about us. That's my point. It's fishy. That's the point I'm telling y'all. Y'all got to ask the questions as to why are they keeping me from improving my family's life? That's the questions y'all should be asking.
No, I think it's something we should look into. What are your thoughts, Ty? Because I know we circle around to this conversation around racism, and I think that the issue that I have with it is it's automatically assumed that the differentiator is racism and that there's no other factors that can explain, for example, why Elon Musk has such a valuable company, or why there are other outcomes. So what are your thoughts?
I mean, for me, I'm kind of out of line with kind of what you've been saying about the other factors to it. It's not just about race. Now, don't get me wrong. And let me say this: there's a difference between racism and discrimination. You could be discriminated against because of your color, hair, tattoos, earrings, jewelry, whatever. It's not just solely based on you being black. I think a lot of black people get into these spaces and they don't have everything in a row and they don't have everything organized, which is mainly why they get denied majority of the time. Now, I'm not going to dismiss it and say there aren't instances where it's just gatekeepers, because I do think that's a thing in multiple communities, not just the white community. But there's not really much we can do about that. Move on to the next one, move on to the next opportunity, go to a different place. There's like Sean said, we have choice. There's so many choices out here. So why are we harping so much on one choice where we get denied? And again, like I said before, we take ourselves out of the game and we're not looking for another solution to make what we want to happen.
Right. And I agree with that. And I want to go back to the accredited investor thing, because I wasn't quite sure. Sean, are you saying that this is a black issue, that, accredited investor versus non-accredited investor?
What I'm saying is nationally, there's under 1% of accredited investors that are black. So for me, and this isn't y'all, I'm seeing, I got off social media a couple of years ago, so I don't really see that stuff. When I was on it, everybody on Instagram was stunting for the gram. That was the thing, what I say, what y'all kids say, but stunting for the gram. Like that's, they was out showing the cars and showing the trips and I know it's fake, right? I know it's fake because money don't work that way. That's not how money works. They ain't got no Lamborghini, they ain't got the mansion. That's not how that works. But in my brain, it's like all these so-called black people that have money, why don't we represent more of that sector? So again, I ask questions. I might not have all the answers, but my point is like, the reason why I got to become an accredited investor is because the question that I had was, wait, I'm on Facebook every day. And at that point, Clubhouse, it was I forgot what it was a day in May, and they had a Clubhouse room, and the two investors came on and they hosted a room and they said, today we're worth $3 billion. And I logged out of Clubhouse and put it off my phone. And I was like, because I was so infuriated, because I seen Meek Mill on Clubhouse, I seen Snoop Dogg on Clubhouse, I seen Matt, what's the guy on the West Coast, the guy Whack. They're out there being a monkey for Clubhouse, getting it cool. But meanwhile, for me, like I always tell y'all, the investors, the money, follow the money. Don't follow the bottom line, follow the money. They're making billions. And from that point, I realized, oh no, we don't have no money. We don't. That's not our game. We rather look like we have it. We rather look like we know it rather than really doing it. So my question is, I don't think we're less than. That's my point. I know we're not less than, but then why don't we represent more? And that's the part where if it's not, I mean, it could be a lot of stuff. To your point, to both y'all points, and I can see to that. But my point still is how. I guess my new point is how do we? That's my new point, or my new question. How do we bring our people to be able to get that 0.07% of black accredited investors? How do we get 3%? How do we get there? Because when it comes about saving our community, we're not going to do it by picking up trash. That's the bottom line of this. Everything in this country is economics. So if we don't understand economics, then we'll never get a play together to increase our economics and our status. That's my point.
I'm gonna give an example and let me know what you guys think of this. It seems like we're saying similar things, but we have different answers as to why. So here's an example that comes to mind. We all three go in a restaurant, and Ty orders some fried chicken, and Sean, you order some something else that's unhealthy. You order some fried fish. And I order a salad, right? And then we say, well, Black people, why did Fitz order the healthy thing and they ordered the unhealthy thing? My answer would be, I chose something healthy and they chose something unhealthy because that's what they wanted to do. And if they get negative health consequences from that, that was a decision. It seems like your answer would be, it was racism. They walked in there and they chose that fried food because racism pushed them
Nah,
to
not for that. Not for
choose
no.
it.
Not for that. I'll be joking, but not for something like that. No. But to you know, that's funny. But to be real, for me, even for me getting a salad, you know, just to keep going with your point, the salad for you is healthy because I have acid reflux and I have these ulcers. The salad for me equals me getting a burnt stomach for the rest of the day. So again, that is still on the person, still perspective. What's healthy for you is not healthy for me. What's healthy for Ty is not, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody, that's back to my point. There's no one way to fix all of this stuff, right? Because where I'm at in the big city could be different from my man down in Georgia, which could be different from, you know, where I think you in Texas, you know, like there's different ways. I think we do want the same end result. But back to my point, I think I was typing that, you know, one time where I said, I look at Black people like a team. And there's different roles in a team, but as long as we have the same, you know, enemy or the same, like we play basketball, I'm coaching them tomorrow, the kids, the basketball, the 12-year-old, right? So my team of 7 kids, we have a schedule. We have the same enemy or different, not enemy, that's dramatic, different kids that we play every week, right? But my team is the same. So our goals are aligned. Now, I have a big girl. She's not going to be the point guard. She's big and she's heavy. She's going to be my center. I got a short guy thinks he's Steph Curry. I'll be like, yo, you're not even his brother, you know. But they're on my team and we still going toward the same thing. But the little guy and the big girl, they can't do the same thing. But we're all fighting for that win. We have to do the same thing as Black people. But more times than not, there's too many of us saying we don't need this, we don't need reparation, we don't need. And I'm like, and I'm a little bit older. Well, I think I'm older, but I'm like, I'm looking around every community that I go to, and I'm like, what do you mean we don't like say?
Well,
if that's not a fight y'all want to do, just say that. But don't say what the community don't need that. Don't do that. That's not fair.
Let me ask this question before. Why is the Black community the only community that can't follow the blueprint though? I see other communities, they have a blueprint, and because people say it's, you know, it might work for this person, but it doesn't work for this person. But other communities, they take
what's the blueprint you're talking about, so I can make sure I'm not being.
Well, just the blueprint of being successful, whatever being successful looks like. So let's say, for the sake of the example, Asian people, they come over here, they own a business, they own a gas station, hair store, restaurant, all those things. They have that blueprint, and everybody else behind them follows that blueprint, even if it's not this idea of it fits them. They still follow that, and they still achieve some type of success. Black people have examples, but we can't follow the blueprint because then we say, well, that's not for me.
We follow the blueprint. What happens in America is that the blueprint doesn't give us the same results that it gives everybody else. So my point, you know, I'll go back to our ancestors in Black Wall Street and Wilmington, North Carolina, and down in Florida. I can't think of that name of that city right now. But anyway, there's more than one. I hate saying Black Wall Street as if it's one place. There were wealthy Black communities all over America. That's the ultimate people following the blueprint post, you know, the Civil War and all, and Jim Crow. And
I want to ask a question about that because you bring up a good point. But I do want to point out, you had said this, and so did C Dot. C Dot's on here. I'm going to give him an opportunity to talk. But you both had alluded to, with my food example, well, healthy for one doesn't mean healthy for all. but I
Right.
specifically chose fried food because fried food is unhealthy, like regardless of who's eating it.
But if you eat fried food one time a month as your cheat day, that's not.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm talking about as a regular.
But
Like,
that's the point.
but
It's all
unhealthy
about
could
there's
be
variables that come with that.
that it is, but as a general food, fried food is. If somebody said, "Is this a healthy food option or an unhealthy food option?"
It's a horrible food option, right?
Right. But then the comment is healthy for one doesn't mean healthy for all, and I think that ties into what Ty's talking about with the blueprint. If we're giving our children the blueprint for eating healthy, and I'm over here saying fried food is unhealthy, and then there's other people saying, well, healthy for one doesn't mean healthy for all, that could lead them to be like, well, fried food isn't unhealthy.
When we hopped on that second Zoom, I was in the car with my dog. I don't know which topic it was, but I do know where I was when I hopped on with y'all. I was with Maya out in the parking lot, and I was bringing up food deserts because I was going back home to the house, and I was bringing up food deserts in DC as far as like, there being, I think it was food, and you were saying the choice, and I was saying, what if there was no choice? To around with your point, there's places in DC, and I can't speak everywhere because I don't believe it's one size fits all. I go to where I know. But
Right.
in Black communities, there's a lack of healthy food. There's an overabundance of what's not healthy. So my point is, why are there so many carryouts? Why are there so many check cashing? Why are there so many payday loan? Why are there so many of these type of predatory places in the urban community? I live in the suburbs, man. I can't tell you where the unhealthy food is where I live at because they don't allow it to be here. Well, why don't they allow it to be here? Because there's white people over here, and they're active.
I'll touch on that. But I want to give C-Dot a chance to talk. Oh, C-Dot just dipped out again. I was trying to give C-Dot a chance. It seemed like he's in and out and wants to say something. But if you want to come back up, C-Dot, come up. But I'll touch on that briefly. You're correct. Okay, there goes C-Dot. I'll let him talk real quick. All right, what up, C-Dot?
What's up, C-Dot?
What's going on, family? How y'all doing?
Pretty good. What's on your mind?
Not much, man. I'm sitting there just listening. I hate that y'all go live so early, man. You know, just get worse on driving through rough areas. But what I was saying was when I said that some things that's healthy for one may not be healthy for others, was that like say for instance beans. You know what I mean? Some people may consider beans a healthy food, but my wife is extremely allergic to it, so it's not per se healthy for everyone just because it's healthy for some people. Now I hear from what's my brother name up there, Ty? I hear brothers, you know what I'm saying, like make this comment over and over again, and usually it takes away from Black excellence because it's as if it's to say as if Black people aren't successful, or that you don't find large communities or large portions of Black people who have reached success in this country, even with the obstacles, the extra obstacles that have been placed in front of our people. And we have still been able to excel. So that actually shows how resilient we are as a people. It doesn't speak against us. It shows that we are more resilient than those Asian people that come over here and get instant loans in order to start their businesses when we've been redlined for God knows how long. We've been discriminated against as far as banking in general. In housing, we've been discriminated against. In so many different instances, Black people are still, to this day, being discriminated against. The brother Roland Martin brought up my phone mic again. I apologize. I'll jump back up. But Roland Martin actually talked about it. And he talks about the housing discrimination as far as them giving a proper God, I hate being absent-minded, but giving people the proper evaluation for their homes, appraisals. Exactly, that was the word I was looking for. I'm sorry, but giving Black people the proper appraisal for their homes. They're showing is current discrimination with black people in their appraisals. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they're not really addressing it that much. We have to end up selling our houses for way less, which affects our generational wealth. So these are all obstacles that are tossed at us, but we still seem to find a way to overcome. So we can't overlook that and say, why are Asians doing better? Why are these people doing better? Why are these people? None of those people had the obstacles we had. None of them. So I just wanted to make that point. I'm on mute.
Oh, we can't hear you, Sean.
I'm curious to know.
I think Sean's on mute.
Do
y'all see him talking?
He rapping. He
Oh,
rapping
he's
to
on the
himself.
phone with somebody.
Oh, he might be. To C-Dog's point, I don't disagree with any of that. I agree with everything you said, and I'm aware of the housing thing. Me and Fitz have had that conversation plenty of times as well. But to say that they don't have the same challenges as us, that's kind of a stretch for me, man. Because if anything, and this is just personal experience, I've met people who have gone through the unimaginable things, even compared to the States, even in their own countries. People have escaped very tragic lives, and we see it. We're seeing it now with a lot of people migrating over here to all these different states and things like that, and getting all this money, yada yada yada. But I'm just shedding the light that I'm not saying there's not successful Black people, but we don't shine enough light on those successful Black people to say this is how you do it, this is how you can do it. Or even if we do, then there's a mentality of, well, you left the hood, you better than us, you Uncle Tom, all these negative connotations that people start to attach.
Did I get kicked? Oh, I thought y'all left me. My bad, y'all.
Hey, we thought you was having a seizure, brother.
Your audio was out.
My bad,
Your
y'all.
audio was out. All I saw was
hey, that boy was rapping.
Y'all better come
I thought
check
you was
me.
on the phone with somebody.
But yeah, man, it's not to say there aren't successful Black people. It's just Black people are not jumping on the train to get to that point. And that's what we're mainly talking about is how do we get people on the train? But again, everything in the Black community, and I think for C-Dot, I think he lives in I think he said Georgia at one time.
I think he's in Georgia, Macon.
Being in that area, you'll see Black people, successful Black people all the time. But we're talking about as a whole, the whole country. It's different if it's just a state, but we need that across the country because there's other Black people in Washington, Oregon, we need that as a whole, not just in one state.
I love the DMV area because some Black excellence is here. Bowie, Maryland, Mitchellville, the one past Mitchellville, Clinton. These are some of the most wealthiest, affluent Black neighborhoods in America. This ain't a Sean thing. This is this is how this goes.
I'm gonna make a damn T-shirt with that on it.
It's not a Sean thing.
It's not a Sean thing.
But the reason why I say that is the reason why I say that is because me and my wife talk about that. These are the best of the best Black neighborhoods in America, but me and her, specifically her, but we will never move there because once you go out the neighborhood and turn left or turn right, there's nothing there. There's nothing in there. These are 2 million neighborhoods. The school systems are the worst in Maryland. Well, now my question becomes, why is it the best neighborhood in the nation for Black families has the worst schooling district? Why is that? That's my question to people. Like us picking our stuff up by the bootstraps, there's still systematic stuff that comes, and we can kick over the wealth part. The school is trash, and the school might be decent. The food is trash, and the food might be okay. And like it's not always. That's dramatic. I'm being dramatic, y'all. But y'all get my point. The point is, and I'm sticking to my point of Bowie, Maryland, PG County, Maryland. If y'all look it up, again, this ain't a me thing. This is a Maryland thing. This is a U.S. thing. They have the worst school district in Maryland. Sorry, Baltimore City is the worst. PG County, second worst. But that's the most Black wealth in the nation. There's an issue with that nobody can give me an answer as to how that's a thing. If we do what they do, we'll be okay. They're doing it in Bowie. They're doing it, but it's not equal. It's not close to being equal. These people aren't putting their kids in public schools. The black people that's doing it. Why? And I'm saying why. I know the answer to it. I know why. My point is to y'all. The questions that y'all should be asking is not. It's not base level, man. It's deeper than just like we gotta do better and lift ourselves up. Maybe. But I'm seeing people do it in Bowie, and their kids are still getting shot. Still.
Well, one thing that comes to mind is this. Like, I know that that's a very specific example, and I don't know if it can be generalized to every wealthy, affluent neighborhood in the United States, or what percentage of them it can be attributed to. But I want to pose this question to y'all and let me know. Question on leadership. All right. Would you rather have a leader who says, hey, look, we acknowledge that there's problems. Some of it is due to systemic racism, whatever. But let's talk solutions, and let's talk about how we can actually win irregardless of the racism. And you know what? When we come to these meetings, 10% of what we talk about racism, the other 90% don't bring up racism. It's useless here, right? That's the one leader. Or the other leader, hey, racism, whenever there's a problem, automatically think racism. Look at our history in this country. And whenever there's a problem and we want to figure out solutions, 90% of the time, let's focus on racism, systemic racism. 10% of the time, let's focus on solutions that have to do with your individual behavior. Which leader do you want leading you?
I disagree.
But I'm asking a question. What is there to disagree with?
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was cool. I thought you were making a statement by saying that.
No, I'm asking which,
He was
like,
asking
out of those two profiles of leadership.
I'm on the second one. The first one is going to be co-opted. The first one is going to be co-opted. We already know what that looked like. That's what we have now. The first one is what we have now.
That's not what we have now.
Who do we have that's fighting for black rights is not co-opted?
We have the second one, I would argue. We have the one that mainly talks about racism 90% of the time. Almost every black politician focuses on racism.
Not almost. Who?
And not
the name.
That's what I disagree with.
Who's the name? Not almost. Give me names. I need to know who's in position that's doing that. Because if they were doing that, they wouldn't be in position. They would get kicked out. They would get voted out. Because again, I'm doing this stuff. I'm doing charters. I'm doing the like it's votes. You have to be liked. You gotta be.
Argument is that 90% of black politicians focus on solutions instead of racism.
They focus on what's not. Yes. They focus on getting along.
I'm saying that.
And it not being about race and not being about.
I'm saying
that. I believe that.
I'm saying that 90%, more than 90%. I would say 99%.
I'm with him.
The vast majority of black politicians are not sitting there talking about, we just worried about racism. No, they worried about the problem and fixing the problem. The problem, if the problem extends from systemically racist organizations, then they have to speak on it, because that's where it stems from. The majority of the issues that black people have in this country stemmed from racist, systemically racist systems, whether that be laws.
Let's name some problems, and you tell me how an individual cannot solve those problems reasonably because of racism. What are some issues right now that an individual black person
what I'm saying. I think you're confusing what I'm saying. The root of the problem, you have to focus. You have to understand what the root of the problem comes from. And the majority of the roots of black people's problems in this country came from systemically racist laws, actions, policing, economic setbacks. All of that was.
Give me an example of an
example of Jim Crow.
No, a problem
in general.
Give me an example of a problem that an individual black person is facing, like going to get a job, eating healthy. Like, let's think of the top biggest problems that an individual black person is facing, and tell me how racism is
the issue. Going to get a job. Hold on, wait. What right now? You know that this is the lowest unemployment ever for black people right now, right?
Okay.
Okay, so does that mean that black people are not getting jobs? Are not going out to get jobs? They're not working, or black people are like? I'm trying to understand what you're saying as far as the negative of what black people are doing. What are you saying that black people aren't doing?
What I'm saying is, as an everyday black person, right? I want to go out and do something with my life. What y'all seem to be saying is racism is going to stop me from doing what I want to do with my life, no matter what it is. Is that your position?
No, that's not what I've said at all. That's not even what I've hinted to.
That's not what I said either.
But when I say give me some problems, and you're saying the root of the problem is racism, and you haven't even named the problem yet, how do you know it's racism then?
I said that if you look at the majority of the problems and where they stem from, that's why I made sure I was pretty clear on that. Where the problems stem from is from racist institutions. So when you hear politicians speak on racist institutions, then that's not them just simply saying, hey, everything is racist. No, if they're speaking about a particular problem and they bring up racism, they're talking about an institution. So can you give me an example of a black politician that only talks about racism? Or even 90% of their rhetoric is only about racism?
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris. So you listen to Kamala Harris and you're telling me that 90% of what she says from you listening to her is about racism.
When I listen to Kamala Harris and many other black politicians, they never point to the individual as being the solution to their problems. It's always like what you're talking about. When they go out to get a job, they're going to face racism. When they go get a house, they're going to face racism.
What was the last thing you spoke of? What was the last thing you heard her speak about?
Well, the last thing that I researched, I don't keep up with her on a daily basis, but when they put out their memo for what they've done for black people, what was that?
I said she doesn't talk about black issues or right. Like that's not her thing.
She doesn't talk about black issues.
I wish it was racism. I wish it was like fighting, not fighting, but I wish it was a verbal part about that, but it's not. That's
when
my
they
beef
do
with her.
Speak about black issues and how black people can solve their issues, it's from a macro perspective. It's from the Jim Crow existed and racism. It's never from here's what you can do. Here's the blueprint for what you can do as an individual. That's the point that I'm making. It's always some broad macro. We don't know how you're going to solve this. Racism boogeyman, Republican boogeyman, racism, they hate you, they want you back in chains. That's the overall message of most black.
That's cap, bro. You capping. You capping.
What
right
is the
now.
message?
You capping, bro.
What is the message?
You're being extreme. Can you okay, tell you what, since you are the channel host, right? Can you pull up anything? Can you pull up an example of that? Can you pull up an example of Kamala Harris just speaking on the macro and only speaking on racism and that's it? Can you show us where when they ask her about the border, all she speaks about is racism? Like or anything about economics, any type of political when she speaks about Ukraine, how does she talk about racism? Can you give me any examples?
I'll see if I can pull something up.
While you're doing that real quick, I was doing a speech last week, and what I was telling those kids in the political science class when one of the guys asked me who I was going to vote for, I was letting him know, like, I'm not a voter. I'm a one issue voter, is reparations, side note, but I'm not voting. And he was like, "What? Wow, how did you get to that position?" And I said, "Well, the system is flawed." And I said, no matter if I vote for the Democrat or the Republican, my issue wasn't with them. My issue was the system. So before I can give you a vote, the system got to be changed. So if you're not talking about disrupting the political system as we know it, I can't understand how my vote matters. And that wasn't for me to tell them, to vote or not to vote, but it's just to let them know, like, the root of all this stuff, like my man is saying, is the root. If you don't address the root, if you don't get to the bottom and figure out why it's messed up, don't talk to me about what you can do because it's flawed. It's a flawed system. It's a flawed starting. So we can't get to what's going to be right or wrong because it's flawed. That's the point.
But
I think
that's never gonna happen though. If you waiting on the system to be broken down and
it's
rebuilt,
never going to be done.
you're
It's
gonna
never
be
gonna be
waiting
done.
for a long,
Right. So
long
why
time.
do we talk about the system
Because
so
in
much?
this country, it's a two-party system.
You see how much they're
Why do we
fighting
talk
when
about
people
it so
talk about a
much?
third party and
Yeah, like why do we talk
Oh,
about
shit.
the system so much and say talk about things from a macro perspective instead of a micro perspective? That is my issue. Is again, if someone's listening to this and they're thinking, how do I make my life better as a Black person? And all they're hearing is Jim Crow, the system is against you, systemic racism. Well, they're not living as a group of Black people every time they walk outside their house. They're living as an individual. And so my focus would be, what can an individual do?
Do they not become Black when they leave out?
What was that?
yeah, they can't
Do they
take the
stop
black
being
off.
Black when they leave out the house?
No, they don't stop being Black, but the fact of the matter is
do the
that
police still see them as Black people? People of
police still
authority,
see
I
them
would
as
say.
and less than 250 Black people got killed last year by police, so it's not a real issue.
It's not okay.
To answer your question, I think the question you're asking, for me, that's where I start with people to giving them the entrepreneurship speech and the power of business ownership and understanding what an LLC, what an incorporation, what a nonprofit, that's where I would start from that person. And for me, that's where I start from my family, and my network. I talk all this stuff. It's not doom and gloom. I'm like I said one time, if it's raining outside, I will be a fool not to tell you, not a fool, but I would be unfair not to tell you it's raining outside so you won't get your umbrella. So I'm preparing with the information. Now, how do I? That's when I give them, ways to separate yourself. You get the corporation, you do the business credit, you get the EIN, like you start building that up. But I always say, I can talk and chew gum, so we can do that part. But I'm still going to talk about doing the incorporating the cities and the towns and figuring out how to get our own mayors raised up from a teenager to a young adult. Trying to get our own like-minded people and finance them like Dr. Claude Anderson
because I agree with you there. I agree with you there about preparing people. The issue that I see is when it's like, to use your rain example, it's raining outside and the rain is only there because you're Black and other people don't get hit with the rain. And after a while, it makes you feel like, well, why do I even go outside then? Why should I have an umbrella even if I go outside and use this umbrella, the rain's still gonna hit me? That's the mainstream argument I hear.
I don't know any weak-minded Black men.
Nobody is saying that though, bro. Nobody is saying that. That is some right-wing talking point garbage. Literally nobody is saying that. So not when one single Black person is saying that. Nobody is saying that. Oh my God, racism is so bad that we're never going to be able to move. I just pointed out to the other brother that we have progressed. We have been able to slightly progress even with all the adversity.
Can Black people do 90% of what they want to do in America today? Let's break it down by percentages. 90% of what like an average Black person wanted to do, can they do it even with the racism?
90% of what? That's what I'm saying. Like, you're
making
a broad statement.
Yeah,
it's vague and it's broad.
Let's think of it. 90% of whatever they want to do. Like, what do most Black people want to do? Maybe they want to go to college, have a nice car, get a house, or whatever it is.
And you say, can 90% of Black people do it?
Right. Like, what percentage of Black people cannot do what they want to do because of racism?
They can't do it. My issue, when I'm thinking about that perspective,
that's a trick question. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, he's not asking. He's asking the way Fitz asks questions.
I'm really trying to figure out, because if racism is the issue,
it's one-sided. It's not nuanced. Your questions are nuanced. Your questions are black and white, but it's gray. That's what I told you last week. There's gray in the world. Your questions are like black and white, and the world's not black and white, and America's not black and white.
I asked an open-ended question.
Yeah,
black and white is a yes or no.
we can do anything that anybody else can do. I would say, you know, I don't know. I would give it above 90-something%. My
Well, then why are we
perspective
focusing on
comes.
racism?
Let me
If
keep
we-
talking. My perspective
Okay.
comes when it comes to the quality of
Doesn't
whatever it is that I'm
exist.
trying to do. The quality of my bank loan, the quality of my credit score, the quality of my. That's the point what I'm talking about. Legally, on paper, we can do what anybody else can do, but the beef comes when we try to really, you know, not just walk outside and put our head down and talk lightly, but when we walk outside and just try to be a regular American. That's the problem that we're not allowed to do in peace, and we know
Did you
that
face
because
that
our
today?
communities keep getting burned down.
Did you face that today?
I did today. Yes, I did. I don't know.
You faced that when you walked out the door. Someone like what attacked you? They were.
I was on a
racist?
phone call. Yeah. So I did. I was on a phone call. And for me, with my company, I was trying to do an acquisition in Florida. I was trying to do a down there in Orlando. And per my acquisitions, when it comes to dealing with them white folks, I can buy stuff. You know, I can go to Orlando and I can buy something close to Kissimmee. I can buy a little small single family. But when I'm trying to buy the block, that's the issue. Of course, I can buy a small house, but why can't I? Like I said before, why can't I buy what they buy?
And your answer is because you're black.
You haven't given me a reason why I can't do it.
Well, to use your guys' word, it's a trick question because I don't know your finances.
I told you, I'm a cash buyer. I'm a cash buyer, 100 million, ready to go.
Okay,
I'm
cash buyer. I don't know the specifics of the situation, so you're asking me why you can't do it, but I don't know the background. If we were to actually sit down,
it's a $68 million purchase for commercial property.
It's a what?
It's a $68 million purchase price. Commercial, residential, vacant land. I have 100 million of cash, so I don't need a loan. I don't need nobody to give me nothing. It's readily available. So I have what they say, 32 million above asking that I can show them. So they got the money. They know they're going to get it. So now my point becomes, why can't I give you my money?
And what
That's
I'm
what I was
saying
telling
is,
you before.
Without me having all of the details,
I told you. That's the major detail.
That's not.
Now
That's not all of the details, though.
My credit don't matter. My attitude don't matter. I'm telling you all the stuff that matters to you. What I'm trying to buy, I have above the amount that I'm trying to buy.
You're. What I'm telling you is, I don't know the ins and outs of that deal enough to say that it's because you're black. And I'm asking,
what else could it be?
You think it's because you're black?
What else could it be? You up? Now that I gave you, it's not a money thing. To Fitz, what else would Fitz see as the reason why I can't complete my transaction?
Well, when you say the money is readily available, is this a hard money loan? Is this cash that's
in my business account
owned by you in your account?
Cash. I'm ready to do a wire right now. I can do a wire right now.
One LLC, any of that other stuff. So
their brokerage.
Okay. So what you're saying to me is you cannot go and get the loan because you're black.
Not the loan. I don't need a loan. I can't. They won't take my. They won't allow me to. I keep telling you, if they have a loan, I'm trying to get. This is the part where I be frustrated. Not at you. It's like when I try to give people money. Who wants to give money out? I be trying to give money out. Like, yo, take my money, and they won't take it from me. It's not. They ain't got to check nothing. I'm trying to do a wire transfer, and they're giving me every reason in the book as to why I can't.
What are the reasons they told you?
What are the reasons why they told me?
Yeah, what is their explanation for why they won't do the deal with you?
As of right now, they said they have to check with their underwriter. That's when you all hopped on at 11:05 whenever y'all hopped on. I got the phone call right when y'all went live, and I had to walk outside. So I was walking outside dealing with that. That's why I'm normally on when y'all get on. I came back kind of quiet because I was trying to receive how I felt about this. But to my point to you, it's like, help me feel better about my life. Help me feel better about what else could it be? If it's not racism or not because I'm black, then what else could it be where they're not allowing me to do a transaction that's all cash?
What is the underwriter for?
I'm gonna give you that number. Let me know. Let me know. You asking the right questions. I'm gonna hire you. I'm gonna contract you because you asking the right questions. Now you're being my man. Why we need the underwriter? We ain't underwriting nothing. It's a system. I know what it is. I know the answer. You don't want to hear my answer, but I
No,
know
I
what
want
it
to.
is.
I want to hear your answer, because for me, if I have $100 million and I can go buy these deals, and they're telling me no, it's just as easy to go get other property somewhere else.
Remember how I talked about black billionaires and like our businesses aren't allowed to do a certain amount of real business? We can do what they allow us to do. The example that I initially gave was buying a football team, buying a basketball team. 30 different people have to agree that you can buy that team. Nothing to do with your money. They have to allow you to buy it. That's
well,
crazy.
here's what we'll do then. Okay,
Yes.
Take the $100 million, come spend it in Texas.
Oh my goodness.
And I'll represent you, and then I'll be able to see firsthand what it is you're talking about.
Well, I need something to do it in. So you have to give me a reason. I need commercial blocks. I need
I can find those for you. And if you have the $100 million and you're willing to invest,
but you see what we just did, and I don't mind doing that. But this is a good point. So I don't mind doing that, right? But getting this property in Orlando, which is literally 5 minutes from Disney, the value of that property in Orlando is going to go up 10 times what it will go up in Texas. So while you're right, and I can just go to Texas and yeah, I can do it. But my point is the value of my purchase. I'm an investor. I'm an investor. So my brain doesn't just go to buying it. How is that going to look 10, 20, 30 years? How is that going to benefit my children, my wife? I always say my wife, is she pretty? She cute. When I die, I don't want her to get a new man. I want her to be okay with the trust. So what I'm trying to make sure.
Yeah. If it's racism, you're not getting the property. So it doesn't matter how much the property goes up. Come spend the money.
If it's racism, I got to keep fighting. I got to fight 3 times as hard as my white counterpart. If it's racism. Again, I got a white guy. I got my man Tommy. In contracting. I don't want to use him to go down to Orlando. He's getting married. I hate using him for that stuff when he's getting married. I don't want to do that. But I told you, I have a white guy on staff. This is my life. I told you. I'm not playing. I'm not being funny. I'm literally, it sounds funny. It all sounds funny.
No, I'm not laughing at you. I'm not laughing at you.
I don't want to cut your conversation or nothing, but
I'll be laughing.
Go ahead, C. Dot.
That is kind of unanswerable, but I do have a question for you, Fitz, and and Ty. If racism is irrelevant, right? Then why are Republicans going so hard in order to skew? Because I heard y'all talking about this earlier. Why are they going so hard to rid the school system of something that doesn't exist, and also exclude something or add to something that's not included in CRT? And why are they attacking African American AP studies in college courses?
Okay. I'll take that first.
Yeah.
And I think I get what you're asking. One, I don't think that I don't look at racism as is it relevant or is it irrelevant for many things. I look at it as how relevant is it versus how relevant it isn't. So that's my main thing is when I go to do something, how relevant is racism in this situation? If it's below a certain threshold, then I don't really focus on it. That's my position. As far as them getting rid of books, I keep saying, and this is what I keep saying, where it's like, to me, that's not relevant, because if you said what?
Listen, not just books, entire courses.
Courses, right? So I know what the books are. I know what the courses are. Why can't I just buy that book for my child myself? Like,
because that's not what you pay taxes for. You pay taxes for your child to be able to go to school and learn. That's what your tax money goes to. That's what my tax money goes to. So when I pay higher tax, which I do right now, I pay at least $2,000 more than I was paying last year for property taxes, based on the school that's around my house, which my kids don't even go to. So I'm paying taxes for a public school that my kids don't go to, but at the same time, I should have some type of input on what's being taught in those schools, right?
How many meetings do you
As a
go
taxpayer, as far as what? Board meetings, school board
to?
meetings.
Yeah, like the meetings that you can go to decide what books are there and all this other stuff, curriculum. How many do you go to?
Well, you don't decide that. That's the thing about it. A lot of the parents don't even get to decide that. That's determined by the school board, which is also influenced by their government system, who funds the schools, who funds public schools. So that's why you have
And the
people like
tax
Sarah
dollars.
Huckabee. That's why you have people like Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Ron DeSantis, the entire state of Texas Republican Party, the entire state of Tennessee's Republican Party, all making
How important is that
extreme
to you?
efforts to go. How important is African American studies and teaching Black history in schools?
Yeah, on a
Very
scale of 1 to
important.
10.
It's very important to everybody.
So why not just move to an area where they support it?
Very 10.
So why not move to an area where they support it?
Why not move? No. Because that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about
That's what I'm talking
public
about.
schooling system.
Accountability.
We're not talking about just moving to an area. No, because once again, you're talking about your appetite and what you eat and how it's healthy for you. And it's not healthy for everybody. So most Black people, especially low-income Black people, most low-income Black people don't have the ability to just up and move themselves to another location. So they have to worry, like those public school teachings are very important to a lot of low income, not only Black people, but white people. White people should also learn Black history.
So what is your solution? Because my solution is moving. Your solution is what? Which one do you think takes less time?
It's leave it the hell alone. My solution is leave it the hell alone. Why are you bothering it in the first place? If racism is not an issue for your people, then why are you bothering things that discuss race? Why are you even touching it? It's not a problem for you all. So I don't understand why Republicans are so rash about going after African American studies and Black history. What is the goal? How is that a solution for?
What I'll say to that is, if you learn how to swim, I don't think that you worry if there's now a swimming pool somewhere. Like, my thing comes back to, if we know the system is racist, why wouldn't we try to do what we can to not be affected by it? That's my whole thing. Is like, if we understand that why Republicans can come and do this, Democrats can come and do that, why wouldn't we then take ownership and say we're going to teach our own children Black history? That is the solution. But your solution, again,
I keep telling you, because you're talking about yourself. You're only speaking of you when you talk about your solution. You're only thinking about you, because you're not thinking about you're not thinking about that single mother who has to work 10-hour days in order to support her children. You're not thinking about those people, because you're not, because you're saying like it's just easy. Hey, why not just teach your kids yourself? I'm not saying that's not in the hold on. That's not in the books for everybody. So what I'm saying is, instead of us addressing something that's really irrelevant, because what I'm really trying to ask you is, why are you okay with them attacking something that wasn't a problem in the first place?
I'm okay with them attacking something that in your mind isn't a problem in the first place, because to me, this is a good thing, because it pushes Black people to think more outside the box and realize they should have been taking responsibility and accountability for educating their own children in the first place on Black history. White people educating Black people on Black history is not a good solution. And why do you think every teacher is white? Why do you think every teacher in Black schools are white? Why do you even think the majority of teachers and majority Black schools are white? Because they go to school and they get teaching jobs and things like that, and they're incentivized to go into these lower income neighborhoods because their student loans will get paid off.
Can you show me evidence that that white teachers are more prevalent in black schools than black teachers are?
There's a very small percentage of black teachers.
Really? See, here in Georgia, we have over 14% of black teachers in Georgia alone.
So
which will be incorporated as very, very high, because 14% is the national percentage of black people in general.
Yeah, but if an area is majority black and there's only 14% of black teachers, that means 86% of teachers are non-black.
No. In the entire state of Georgia at 14% black teachers. If you go into the school system, my children go to an all-black school. Well, majority black school, 98% black, but it's also an APS school.
Right. And
it's a slightly public school, but it's also an all-girls school.
Are you arguing that most?
I'm asking you. I asked you initially, why are you okay with them attacking something that is really irrelevant? If you saying racism is irrelevant, all of this stuff is irrelevant to black people, why are you okay with them attacking black history? That makes no sense to me.
The reason,
and then your excuse was to say, right? I mean, your excuse was to say I'm cool with it because black people should be teaching their own kids.
It's not an excuse.
Do white people teach their own kids? Are they not responsible? Do they tax money not go to how their schooling is supposed to be? Why are black people always the ones who should take the ass end of the stick and then learn how to deal with it? Like, I don't understand that part.
This is where I'll say you're disingenuous, because we live in a majority white country. We're talking about racism, and you seem to believe racism is a bigger issue than me, but I'm the one who's mainly
you still ain't answering my question. You're going to dodge around this question a whole lot, I see, because you do not want to answer it. So you keep bringing up these red herring arguments that nobody up here even brought up. I'm asking you a particular question.
You're saying I'm making an excuse, but I'm literally telling you my answer. And when I tell you an answer, you say, well, that's not everybody.
Your answer's not answering, bro. You jumping all the way around the mulberry bush with the answer. I asked you a direct answer, and I'm asking you, why is it not an issue? Your answer to that is, well, black parents should be able to teach their own kids. And I just gave you the dynamics. I just gave you the dynamics for the majority of poor or lower income households don't have the luxury to be able to give their kids 6 hours of education per day.
We're not
so therefore they send their kids to a public school. Hold on, wait. So therefore they send their kids to a public school which they pay for with their taxes. And you're telling me it's okay that they don't learn in school, but white people can teach all the shit they want to.
They're not learning black history 6 hours a day, and if they are, they're definitely not going to be competitive in this world.
It don't matter if they was learning it 30 minutes a day. They still learning it. That's what I'm saying. That's my entire purpose. What is the point of attacking something that is not a problem with in the first place? Why are you okay with that? If you keep saying there's no issue with racism, there is no such thing as racism, all this other stuff, why are the people that you support attacking?
You're putting that out there. I never said there was no such thing as racism. I never said it's not a problem. I said specifically, I look at how relevant is it. If you're telling me,
right, you're saying it's irrelevant. So if it's irrelevant, then why are you okay with people messing with Black history and African American studies?
I just gave
why
you
is that?
Answer.
Why are you not?
I just gave you the answer. If you believe America is racist, why would you then have them teach your children about Black history? That doesn't make sense.
Back to answering a question with a question. I keep being very direct, and you keep taking it into a whole nother lane.
Okay,
I'm asking you about things that are happening right now. You telling me why you worried about it? Who cares that they attacking African American history? So what? I don't understand your logic.
Black history. That is my answer. White people should not.
Why do you keep saying that when there are several black teachers who teach black history, especially in African American courses in college. Those are African American teachers.
You said they don't have control over the curriculum. So just because it's a black face saying what white people told them to say does not mean.
I just told you they're attacking African American AP courses in college. There are black teachers teaching African American studies in college.
Who runs those curriculums?
Why is there not a problem, huh?
Who decides those?
Who decides what?
Who decides the curriculum for the college, for the high schools, for the...
I just told you that, bro. I just told you there are boards that are also influenced by government. Why they're influenced by the government? Because the government are the ones who fund the schools.
And the government
I just said that. And we're the ones who fund the government.
And
so therefore, why would you be okay with funding a government that wants to take away from your children in the schools and put it on you to do when they're getting paid to do it?
Because if you understand who your enemy is, then
come on, man.
See, every time I start to explain, you want to whine and say, "Oh my God," and stuff. But
because you keep saying, because you'll say something like they are enemy, they are enemy 1 minute, then the next minute you saying it like it don't matter. Or we can just get over it. It's no problem. Just get over it. Don't fight back. You ain't saying nothing about fighting it back, doing nothing in order to change it. You just saying deal with it, which makes no sense to me.
You're lying. That's a lie. I said parents teach their children. That is fighting back. That is not.
No, it's not. That is not fighting back. That's not fighting back. That is allowing them to change this, to put the narrative in their pocket and walk with it. And now they don't have to teach their children about black history. They don't have to teach their children about what happened in the past. This is how you give them.
Was that fighting back? When it was illegal for black people to read and slaves were learning how to read, how was that? That was fighting back, right? That wasn't reasonable for most black people to do because they could be killed. So you're telling me slaves could learn how to read under the persecution of being killed, but black parents can't just at the minimum buy their children books on Amazon centered around black culture and give it to them? That's better than nothing, right? But you want to make excuses for black parents and say, "Oh,
is the government going to give people back? Is the government going to give black parents back money? Is the government going to give black parents back money for the money that they spend for their children to go to school? Is the government going to do that? So that way those black parents can go and buy the books that they need for their children? Are they going to do it? So you keep saying the word get over it, but then you want to say, I'm not saying get over it. This is how I'm pointing out the hypocrisy in what you're saying, bro.
I'm saying
you keep stumbling over your own words because they don't make sense.
You're saying
that's what you're saying.
Over and don't do anything.
That's what you are saying.
Get over the fact
that's what you're saying.
Are going to save you. You say that you don't want white people in your business and you don't want white people doing this.
No, stop putting stuff in my mouth because you didn't hear none of that come from me. You didn't hear anything come from me on those edges. What you're doing are using white people's right-wing talking points.
No, I'm not.
And that doesn't work with me. It doesn't work at all with me because I actually know what's going on. When I look at politics, I actually pay attention to what's going on. Why do I pay attention to what's going on? Because I am a taxpayer. And as long as my money goes into the government, then I should have a say-so. With people like you come on and say, "Oh, well, no, man, you should just deal with it. Just deal with it. Don't worry about it. Just keep going about your everyday life. Pull yourself up by the bootstrap." It's stupid. It makes no sense. It's a defeatist mindset. It's saying, "Oh, well, white people already winning, so why don't we just get back and just do what we can do?" It's stupid. It makes no sense when you can actually get involved. That's the lazy route. The lazy route is saying, "Well, no, I'm just gonna go and buy my kids a book, and I'm just gonna. That's it, man. I'm just gonna worry about mine, and that's it." That's a defeatist. That's an individualist mindset, and that will get black people nowhere.
It's lazy for a child. It's lazy.
It doesn't fight the system. It doesn't try to change any laws. It doesn't fight any systems. It doesn't do anything. It's defeatist.
You're not fighting the system by complaining about the government taking your taxes. what you're doing is actually
It's
just
not complaining. It's actually doing. That's the difference in what I'm talking about and what you're talking about. Because you
Okay.
just talking about talking. I'm talking about actually doing. And when you talk
Okay.
about going to board, are you going to those meetings? Are you going to those town halls? Yes, I do.
And
I am involved. I also organize. I also what's the word for bringing people together? But I do that too. So all of that is incorporated if you want to actually see the change that you're talking about. Otherwise, you just being a defeatist and sitting there dealing with whatever they give you. And that's not what I'm about. And that's all you've been kicking is just deal with whatever they give you, man, and figure it out. That's retarded. No, you figure out what you can figure out, but you fight that shit at the same time in order to make change. So it don't keep happening.
You gotta fight it. You gotta fight it for the generation coming after.
In my example, where I'm saying as a parent, today, not next year, not next month, not in 2 years, when your politician gets elected,
Fitz.
Today, if I decide that I
Fitz.
want my child to learn Black history, I can go buy a book and give it to them today.
Fitz.
How long
Fitz,
does
how
it
many
take
children
for
do
a
you
policy
have?
to get changed?
Fitz, how many children you got?
I have 2.
I got 3. Okay, I got
And it-
116,
no, answer my
118, and
Answer
123.
my question
Okay,
because you just talked about me not answering questions directly.
answer your question about
Answer
what?
my
What's your question?
Who-
Give me your question.
If I go buy a book today and hand it to my child and they read that book, are they learning about Black history quicker than you going to these meetings and hoping somebody changes policy so that your children can learn how Black history works? Who's
This is
learning
where
it
you
quicker?
keep slipping when you're talking to me because you keep talking on the individualist mindset. I'm not
That's
speaking
where it
about just
starts.
my children. I'm speaking about children in general. I'm not talking about just Black children. I'm talking about children in general because not only Black people
I'm
should
talking
know
about
Black
Black.
history, all Americans should know Black history.
I'm
That
for
is the
Black people
problem that
first.
you're having understanding with what I'm saying to you because you keep minimizing it to just you. And I'm talking about not only me, my children, the other brothers' children's up here, the people that's gonna come behind me, that's gonna have my children's children, all of them. I'm concerned with all of them, not just mine for right now. That's an individualist mindset, and the things that you're talking about as far as being an individualist are also defeatist because it doesn't speak on actually doing anything to help the situation.
Not an
You're talking
individual
about
mind.
what you
Not an
can do
individualist
because
mindset.
you can go and read and sit down and read with your son, or because I can sit down with my
Not-
daughters and read books to them,
not an
or I can make
individualist
time for
mindset
that.
if you're
That does not
marketing
mean that
Black.
that is the situation for every other Black person in this country, especially. It
if
does
I
not
went to
mean that.
that meeting-
Not even the majority.
No, if I went to the same meeting you're talking about where I'm begging the people to change the policies, but instead
You ain't
I
begging
walked
for
in and said,
nothing. You
every
actually
Black
working
parent-
to do it.
every Black
not
Your
parent,
begging.
terminology is
every
throwing
Black
you
parent
off
needs
Yeah,
to
because
the
you're talking about
terminology gotta
begging.
change.
It
It's
ain't
not
got nothing to
begging.
do with begging. It's actually going and putting in the work. That's what it's
Yeah.
called. Putting in
It's
the work. It's not
strategically
begging.
playing their game. It's not begging.
Exactly. Have you
It's
ever
strategy.
saw the movie? Have you ever saw the movie the Spook Next Door? I mean the Spook That Sat by the Door.
Right by the door.
Mhm.
Y'all, you ever seen that, Fitz?
Yeah, I seen it.
You have. So you remember when the brother first got into the CIA? You know what I'm saying? And he had them other brothers come up to him. I mean, not CIA, well, the FBI or the CIA, one of them. But remember when them other brothers came up to him, was like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, let's go out and party, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's go out and have a good time, brother. Da, 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 da. He was like, nah, man, I'm chilling, man. I got to, you know what I'm saying? I got work to do, man. Y'all need to be focusing on y'all work too. And the whole time of him sitting there doing all of this extra stuff and paying attention to detail and all of this, at the end of the movie, it ended up being him actually turning it around on the system by working from within. Do you get those type of concepts when it comes to Black people? He didn't sit back and just say, you know what, I'm just going to deal with whatever's going on. No, he decided to put in the work to actually learn the system so that he could infiltrate the system, so then he could turn around and teach those same strategies to his younger generation. It's purpose behind that. He didn't just say, you know what, I'm straight now. I'm good. I'm in the dough. So I'm just gonna sit back and chill. I'm good. That's the
not what I'm
mindset
saying
you
at all.
having right now. I'm not on that mindset. I'm on the
That's
mindset
not
that
what I'm saying.
everybody need to eat from our infiltration, not just
Right,
one person.
And what I'm saying is My message versus your message is very different. If I was in front of a
It
million
is.
black people, if I was in front of a million black people and I said, go out and buy your children black books on black history, you're saying that would be a negative message?
I'm saying the majority of black parents gonna say, "Nigga, we already did that shit. You late." What are you
So you're
talking about? I
saying
just sent my
no.
daughter. I just
A
sent my daughter
majority of
48
black
Laws of
parents
Power
will not buy
yesterday.
their children
She's
books.
16. I just sent my daughter 48 Laws of Power yesterday.
That's
She's
you.
16
But
years
the
old.
majority of black children are not
How you
taught
gonna? How can you speak on the majority when you not focused on the majority? You only focused on
because
what you
if
can
you
do.
look at
When I
the
just
reading
told you
level,
about what the majority,
if
when I
you
just
look
told
at
you
the
about what
reading
the
level,
majority are
most
dealing with,
black children
you
read
shrugged it
below
off
their
like it didn't
current
mean
level.
anything.
Most black children read below their current grade level. So that's how I know that black parents are
Right.
not pushing books
So
in.
why do you think that education should be removed out of the schools if you know that it's already a deficiency in education?
Because white people shouldn't be teaching black people about black history.
See, here we go. There we go again.
That's my answer, but you don't
Back
want
to
to
the
listen.
same thing.
That's
Because
my
it doesn't
answer,
make
but you don't
sense.
want to
Because it's
listen.
not the truth for the vast majority of people.
That's my
White
answer,
people
but
are
you
not
don't
the
want
only
to
ones
accept.
teaching black education. This is why I don't understand why you keep saying this. You making talking points. You're giving me talking points instead of
Oh,
reality.
Lord.
And it's saying
If
that
a
you don't
white
really be
person
around a lot of
holding a
black
gun to
people,
my
bro.
head telling me to say something, that is effectively a white person saying it. If white people are in control of the school board, like you said earlier, that is white people teaching black people using black bodies.
No, that's white people being in control of the school board. They don't teach
Exactly.
anything. They just
And
in
if white
control of the
people
school
are in
board.
control of the
That's
school
what I'm.
board, and the
Oh my
people in
God.
control of the school board are making the curriculum, then
How do
white
they become a
people
part
are
of the
in
school board?
control
Are
of
you
what
aware?
black people learn.
Are you aware
But
of
you're
how they?
comfortable with white people teaching them as long as it's a black face
There you go
saying it.
again. There you go again, saying shit I ain't say. I never said anything about I'm comfortable with none of. I said that it should not be removed from schools. Period.
Are black
Point
people
blank.
in
That's
control
all
of the
to it.
curriculum?
So why are we talking about something totally opposite from what
Are
I'm
black
bringing
people
to
in
your
control
attention?
of the curriculum?
Both of
Black
y'all,
people are
both of
not in
y'all got
control of the
points to a
curriculum.
certain point. Both of y'all got points. Both of y'all got real good points. There is a
How do
difference in
black
a
people?
self
No, fuck that.
inmate.
How do black people become a part of the curriculum? How do black people get that control? How they do it? By doing nothing? By going to buy books? How do
By
black people do it?
coming together as a black community and saying we're going to shelter this responsibility.
Coming together so all black people live in one community?
No, but
That's what you're telling
They
me?
need resources. They
the
they need
black people in
resources for
that
that though, Fitz.
community can connect, but on an individual level, you can also buy your child books instead of buying them game
Do all black
systems,
Well,
people
food,
live in the same
to go to
community? Do they
school,
even live in close
to
proximity to
visit
all other
schools.
black people?
What was that?
Do black people live in the same community or even in close proximity to all other black people?
Most black people live in, I think, like 5 or 6 different states in the United States. The majority of black people.
Okay. Now, according to any one of those states, now tell me how your plan works. Help me out.
My
Say
plan,
Mississippi. All right. We'll go to Mississippi. How does it work? How do you change Mississippi for black
my
people?
plan is simple. If I believe when I go to the grocery store that the apples are poisoned because of white people, even though a black person sold them to me, I'm going to say, let's just grow apples at home. And you're saying that's
Still
a
giving
bad.
me metaphors, brother. I need plan of action, not metaphors. Give me plan of action. What is your plan of action to help black people
Plan of
in
action
Mississippi?
is
Step one.
plan of action is to tell as many black people as possible that regardless of the policies, regardless of whatever, you are accountable for your success and you're responsible for it. And you're responsible for raising your child with the values and principles that you believe in. And if you rely on the government to do that, you will likely be let down. Regardless if white people can do it, Asian people can do it, whatever the case is, your child is only a child for a limited amount of time. So while you're going to these meetings and fighting the great fight, time is going by, and that's time that they're being out competed by other people. So if I want them to learn AI, Black history, whatever the topic is, and the school is not teaching them, I am going to take it upon myself to make sure that they learn that, whether I hire an outside tutor, whether I personally buy them books.
Just to show you again,
that is a better solution. And if enough parents,
you're still talking about individual.
If enough,
you haven't given a solution. That is not a solution at all. You didn't give me a plan.
Finish your statement.
You didn't give me a layout.
I can't finish it because he keeps defending white people. He keeps defending white people. Whenever I put around Black people, he goes back to saying,
I'm defending white people.
Go ahead and finish it though. If enough parents.
Sean,
I want to hear you on your plan.
Ty, you're an individual. C-Dot, you're an individual. If I tell this to 4 individuals, that's making a difference. He makes it seem like I'm just sitting in my room saying it. No, I'm telling you as an individual, there are individual things you can do to affect whatever it is you want to do. John, when you go buy a property, you're an individual, and there are individual things that you do to make that happen. But if I'm sitting here focused on, oh, well, I'm going to go to this meeting and say this and say that, it's like there's money being lost. There's time being lost. You don't have time for that. And contrary to popular belief, it's individuals that are living their lives. We're not living as a group every single day. So yeah,
and that's
so why do you keep talking about? This is what I'm saying. You see how it's such a contradiction, bro? Are you not noticing?
Go ahead. No, you straight. What you just said is man, I lost my train of thought. We need to get back to, we need to get off of the individualism, because when I think about the other communities that are competing in the financial space, they're not doing it by themselves, man. They are really, and they're not perfect, because I don't believe nothing's 100%. That's my speech to everybody. Nothing's 100%, but they have a better key, or whatever that word is. They have a better gauge on how to move as a collective, versus the Black community. A lot of times, it's like I can do this. I did this.
We got too many niggas trying to be white folks.
We have to get more of a. We have to get better with that collective.
But here's where my point is being misunderstood. When I'm saying as an individual you can do stuff, that helps the collective. Nobody wants to be in a group project with somebody that doesn't pull their own weight. So unless you're pulling your own weight, nobody wants to be in a collective with you. If me and you are working on a real estate deal, Sean, and I'm not bringing no money, I'm not bringing no experience, what do you want me there for?
There's truth to what you just said. My family's right. They mad at me because
I'm a Black parent and I meet 10 other Black parents and I don't want to buy my kid a book, but everybody else does. I don't want to go out of my way to make sure that they have this, that, and the third, but everybody else does. They don't want me there. Everything I'm talking about is Black people doing it in group for ourselves on an individual level first, and then collectively you can go and
there's
do
some truth to that. That's Powernomics talks about that. Dr. Claudette.
Help me out. Help me understand what he just said there.
So what I'm saying is this: if I have experience in something, Sean has experience in something, Ty, you both, we can all stand on our own 2 feet by ourselves, but collectively we can come together and do something bigger. That's my message. My message is not, I ain't doing nothing over here. Y'all are all doing something, but I want to be a part of what y'all doing. Nah, you gonna bring it down. So I'm just saying, have a higher standard. If they're not doing what you want them to do in the schools, I'm saying, okay, yeah, it sucks, but there is a solution. Buy your kids the books you want them to read. That it's as simple as that.
So if we collectively decided to go against the system and actually fight the actual laws and shit that's being put in place, then would you join in with that?
I would join into it. It wouldn't be my main. Okay. I'm not, but what I'm saying,
it's already happening. Great. I need you to join in there because it's already happening.
But what I'm saying is, I'm not going to sit there and be like, okay, they said my kids can't read this at school, so I'm only going to go to the meetings and I'm not going to look at the banned book list and buy my kids the books. You need to do both. And if you're only going to do one, I think you need to do it on an individual level first. Because if you get together collectively and you don't have the values necessary to even say, I'm going to buy my own kid these books, you don't give a damn about their children. If you won't even buy your own kids the banned books, You're going there.
What you're saying, Fitz, is real. Is a real good point for people that's going to watch this after us on the replay. When I do business meetings and somebody says, I'm like, yo, what do you do? And they're like, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. And I'm like, yeah, that's cute, but what do you do? And they say, I'm an entrepreneur, and they say, I do crypto, I do this, I do that. And I'm listening to them name 5 or 6 different things, and I'm like, yeah, but what's your specialty? And then they can't tell me. What you're saying to me, what I'm getting from that, what I'm gonna say me, when I'm receiving, this is what Sean Williams is receiving. What I'm receiving from that is when I tell them, you should focus on one skill set. As an entrepreneur, really get good at that one skill set. And once you get that one, then do the second, third, fourth. A lot of times in our community, and more than just that, but people, they put a lot in their bowl, in their plate, but they don't do nothing very well. They do a lot of stuff mid, but they don't do nothing very well. So nothing's able to grow. I think that's what I'm hearing from you, Fitz, and I agree with that. I definitely do agree with that.
Yeah,
we gotta do what we do very well. We gotta figure that part out. What do we do? What's our thing? What's like my thing is financing. My thing is funding. You know, Fitz, you have your thing. Ty, you have your thing. We have to really get to whatever we do, maximize that, and then link up and come. That's the part that we don't do as a community. That last part, coming together. We got to come together.
And to piggyback off that, what I'm saying, Sean, to you is, if you yourself don't value being ethical or whatever in funding, I don't want you to come over here in this collective with me and other people. So if you as an individual don't even value education enough to buy your own kids' books, how are you even going to involve other people's children when you won't even do for your own? I think you need to be doing for your own, and then you can step into the realm of collectively doing stuff, because then it just becomes about savior complex and things like that. So that's how do you have time to go to meetings but not 15 minutes to go on Amazon and buy a book? How do you have time? Like, that takes a lot longer to do that, to go to meetings, keep up with the meetings, actually be informed. Go in those meetings.
Why can't you chew gum and walk? What is wrong? What is your issue with being able to chew gum and walk at the same time? Because you're saying it like nobody buys. Because I'm speaking for myself in this instance, okay? Because as I just told you, I have a 16-year-old that I just bought 48 Laws of Power for. Okay, so she has a regular. She has actually a very healthy library for a teenager. Okay, so at the same time that I educate, that I make sure that I add extra education to my child, I also make sure I go to those meetings to make sure that the people that's in the schools ain't contradicting what I'm teaching my kids. You know what I mean? So there's an ability to chew gum and walk at the same time. One thing is not more valuable than the other. You can do both and still coexist. So this is the issues that I be having with a lot of the things that you be saying. The reason why I say that it's defeatist, it's a defeatist mindset, because you talk like it's impossible to do this because you're doing this. And that's not the case.
That's not what I'm saying. And to clarify my position, I'm somebody who grew up in poverty, and I'm somebody who made it out of poverty because I take 100% accountability. And so when something happens that I don't like, when I don't get this loan, when I don't get this, when somebody doesn't want to work with me, I always go back to me. Even if it's them, it's me, because I want to focus on what I can control. I can't control what the school board is doing. I can't control what these people are doing, but I can control this. That's where I come from.
You keep saying that, bro. You keep saying that, and that's why I said that that's a defeatist attitude, because you're already quitting.
It's because I'm getting what I want.
You're already talking about. I hear you. I got you. I feel you, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you're not really getting what you want. You're settling. You're settling for what you're given.
If what I want is to get into college,
you're settling for what you're given.
Get into college, and I'm able to do that because I didn't give up, and I kept putting applications in and applying somewhere. How was I defeated when instead of me trying to go to some board meeting to make sure that they're treating Black people correctly, I took it upon myself to take action? How is it defeatist when I'm taking action?
You can do both. Because you can do both. Because you can do both, and you chose not to. You only chose to take the easy route. That's why it's defeatist. Because you chose to take the easy route when you could have been doing both. You could have been going where you're supposed to be, getting your education, while at the same time helping your community and the people behind you have
So when
better
I was
lives
going to
than you
black
do.
student, when I
Now,
was
the
going to black
defeatist attitude
student
would
union
say
meetings,
that's not possible, so I'm not even going to focus on that.
I never said
That's
it was. I never
defeatist.
said it was
You
impossible.
quit before
I
you
told
even
you my
start.
preference. I told you my preference for handling solutions, which is if I understand that the system is controlled by white people, I'm not going to continuously try to go up against that on this on my everyday life.
You say that buying a book.
I wish, man, sometimes I do wish, and not saying this is anybody on this line or this call. Sometimes I wish I can just worry about myself and just take the wife and go to Florida and just forget about everybody. Man, my life, I have less stress hair, less gray hair. I wish I didn't care about the system. This is the worst fight that and it's not that nobody told me to do it, but I just when I be seeing injustice with the system, man, it ain't right, bro. It ain't right. It is not right. And no matter what anybody tells me, it shouldn't be that way. And even though it's the system, it's like, who is the system? That's that, you know, that we got to do a one-on-one. That's a tough thing for a call, but like the system is a real thing. So I think when I'm hearing, well, I'm gonna speak for myself. My fight is that system, because if for me, it's like a hammer hammering at the problem of the system. Will I change? I'm 41 years old, right? So I'm on the back end, as I always say. I'm on the back end of my life. So I've accepted that I won't see the stuff that I'm doing in 2024. I'm not going to see that for my kids and my grand. I'm not going to see it. I'm not going to see the system change. I'm not going to see the funding change. I'm not going to see it. But if I don't do it, it's never going to change for my children. And like I told you last week, my wife got that positive pregnancy test. I was passionate without having no kids. I'm fighting for y'all kids. Now I got my own. Oh my goodness. I cannot let my foot off their neck. I can't, because now my kid coming. Now legit, there's going to be another Williams that got my blood. And I've been fighting for y'all children. I ain't even have them. And what I just want is, and it's, of course, everybody got their own role and their own perspective. I feel what you're saying, Ty, because a lot of what you're saying is really, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I really get it. But I wish we would fight the system more as a collective, as opposed to just being one person. Because I'd be looking crazy sometimes.
What I'm saying, I'm not.
I'd be looking mad.
Here's an example, right? The system, the system put this stool right here as an obstacle.
Yeah.
I have two paths. I can go over here and I can ask the system, don't put this stool here anymore.
Yeah.
Or I can go over here and I can get to doing them push-ups. Boom, boom. And I can pick the stool up and move it myself.
I'm gonna walk between.
Once I pick the stool up and move it myself, I can go back to my people and tell them, hey, you can go over there and do that and maybe it will work. But you can also do some push-ups and pick the stool up. Let me show you.
There's a Jay-Z line where on Renegades with that song with Eminem, and he said, I came to a fork in the road and went straight. That's how my brain works. Whenever it's something where it's like, you got to pick one, for me, it's always going straight, man. I don't receive what I can't do. I think we all saying the same thing. In some way, there's pieces of what we're saying, which is the same concept. But for me, I call it what it is, and there's nobody that can get me off of what is not. White supremacy is a thing. There is a cap. There is a thing. And I don't know what that thing is. I can't tell you. I can't give you stats. But what I can say is, the women, we had a venture capital company that I was forming. I was very excited about, and we were going to fund Black children and Black women as our number one, and then Black men, and then everybody else. So it's Black children, Black women, 1 and 2, then Black men, and then everybody else. But then I met a young lady I think she's out of West Coast, somewhere out by Ty. I want to say it's Colorado, but she might be out of like Arizona. She was doing a venture capital company specifically for Black women, specifically. And the U.S. government gave her an injection to stop her from funding venture capital for Black women. And they pulled a law from like the 1700. And when she was on the Breakfast Club, and I would love to send it to y'all, when she was on the Breakfast Club, I'm listening to her, and I'm like, because what that told me was like, Black women are the least funded when it comes to venture capital. This isn't us making it up. This is real. And this white man is saying that's racist. You can't only fund Black women, because what about the white? And she's like, if you all let us in, there wouldn't be an option for that. So I'm saying that to say, I had that whole venture capital play. That's why I'm doing my bank now. My investors that I have lined up for venture capital, they're investors. They want their money to work. They don't like me. They probably can't stand me, but I got good ideas and good deals. So the only reason they're parking their money with me is because I have access. My brain works. It's amazing. So what I did was I turned venture capital into doing a bank, and I was able to get them positions. So like the reason why I'm even doing a bank isn't because I want to. It's because white supremacy is like, don't help black women, black children. My whole business was going to be to fund black women and black kids. And when I see this black women already get smacked by the U.S. government, I have to pivot. My question is like, I was talking to myself, why is this white man stopping this black woman from helping our community? I know the answer, but that's my point to you. It's like, there's people that's in position that's not allowing us to be great. They're not allowing us to walk outside, smile, and say how good the world is. They're literally they're smacking us down. They're smacking our ideas. They're smacking our investments. She's losing she lost 2.8 million of her initial investors because she can't move forward because now she got to pay for lawyer fees. But that's that woman's children's college fund. That's her grandkids. She's trying to build wealth, and it's like that's what we're up against. That's what we're up against. It's not fake. It's real. And can't nobody tell me that's right, because it's not. It's not right.
Well, look, y'all,
it's not right.
I'm gonna let Ty finish.
And in theory,
I gotta go in like 5 minutes.
F you to them, and they probably will be profitable. But in theory, why can't I do venture capital too? It's rhetorical. I know why I can't do it.
I think all the conversations are valid.
Help me fight that battle.
I think
I want to fight that battle.
Fitz, Sean, y'all have valid points.
Can y'all hear me?
For me,
can y'all hear me or no?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You hear me? Okay. I can't hear y'all.
For me, I don't think it's really a defeatist attitude because individually,
my earpiece went.
I had to go and do what I needed to do as far as like, for example, so it's college. So I went to college, first generation, everything, all that good stuff, whatever. But I had to learn how to do these things and become what I wanted to see other people behind me become. So I had to model what it looked like first, and then I could create a collective then of individuals that wanted to come to school. I could teach them, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. So essentially, we became a collective from me being an individual first and figuring out, okay, what's my principles, what's my morals, what I want to do. And to C-Dot's point, yes, I think as a collective, we need to show up, but we can't show up in these spaces without being proficient in the individual part. Like, I hear what everybody's saying, and that's cool. It sounds good. Us coming in and going to school board, cool. But me working in education, most of the black people that have come in, they have not operated from a mindset of factual statements. It's always been an emotional standpoint, which gets us nowhere. And so I think you have to master the individual first before you go outside to the community, because if me, you, and Sean, we go to a damn real estate agent auction and we don't know a damn thing about it, or we know bits and pieces, it's going to be incomplete, and we're not going to be able to, again, create the change that we want to see. And everybody keeps saying change. We don't even got ways to measure that. We don't got ways to measure the impact that we're even doing. So I like both. I'm more on the individual side of, you need to master yourself first, take accountability. Hey, if the school says, hey, we're not reading that damn book, okay, teach your kid at home about Black history, because the curriculum in the school system teaches Black people that they were slaves. They don't talk about Malcolm X. They don't talk about the fruit of Islam. They don't talk about Marcus Garvey, Haile Selassie. We have to stop being so dependent on other things and start being more dependent on ourselves. Because I'd rather create a school than take my kid to a public school down the street. And I lived in Chicago. 6% of teachers in Chicago are Black. 6%. Chicago is majority freaking Black. 6%. We have our priorities in the wrong place. And you can scream all these things to you until you're blue in the face. Everybody can. But we have to start in the home first before we can go outside. And again, I can't fight a system the rest of my life, right? If I want to create change, I need to stop worrying more. I need to stop worrying about the system as much and worry about what I can create in the community. Because then once I have this, once I build my force outside of the city, the system, then we can go and attack. Then we can get stuff changed. But racism ain't stopping anybody. It creates challenges, but I think the examples we have today shows that we're the problem when it comes down to it. Ourselves, the agenda that we push, that's the problem.
I heard racism isn't an agenda since I was in high school, and I'm 41 years old. And the same stuff that they were saying, the same stuff that y'all saying, it's not how it works. It doesn't pan out. I wish we all would. I mean, the first part, getting ourselves up, getting ourselves situated, getting our money up, that part is right. The issue with America is we, as Black community, we don't, or as Black households, a lot of time we in debt. So my point, my first time, I go off the first time and what we talked about. My first time doing the Zoom with y'all, we was talking about the wealth. Black people can't build wealth. And my position was, it's not real wealth. Of course you can save money, 401k, that's cute. That's not building wealth. That's not real. That's fake. And that's what pans out. Building wealth requires a different type of income. It's not W-2, I got a job, I get paid. That does not work for anybody.
Pause on that.
Huh?
It's not just so income, right? I like that. It requires different income, but it also requires a different type of accountability, a different type of learning, a different type of how you step in these rooms and act with people. We can't just say it's, hey, you gonna get $1 million, you're gonna be straight. We gotta do it.
I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna get my books.
My books are on my phone.
What we talking about here?
That's what I'm saying, bro.
What we talking about, Fitz?
I get that, but we have to talk about all the variables that come with that. This guy's stupid, boy.
Is this what y'all want to see?
You don't, bro. Yeah, man. Like you gotta. It's more to it than just that. It's levels to it, and we all, again, like Fitz said, if me, you, C-Dot, all these, we all good. You know what I'm saying? We all expertise in this thing, and somebody else comes and they don't want to be a part of it. That destroys the whole thing. But we have to fight first as individuals.
Hush up, boy. No more of that.
There you go.
Black and talk.
There you go.
No more Black history for y'all youngins.
You said it's March. It's April.
Sean, no more. I'll ban you from buying real estate in the USA until 2034.
I'm sorry, sir.
Hey, and here's another point with that. That's where I disagree with a little bit what C-Dot was saying. And Sean, you as well.
Yep.
If Fitz teaches his kids at home about Black history, gives them books, the Marcus Garveys of the world, Haile Selassie, all those things, right?
Yeah.
And my kid just goes to public school, and we're dependent on the public school to teach him about Black history. But then my kid runs into Fitz. That's automatically gonna be a chain reaction of, hey, let me put you onto this. Let me say this. Yeah. So automatically it's a snowball effect. So if our kids are just going to school together, worried about the AP classes, the African, all that stuff, we're missing out. We got to take accountability, bro. Like we have.
I said that on one of our calls. That's why I focused on children, because the older adults, we set in our ways. It's hard to break a grown man or woman's stance on something. It's very difficult. But the children, they're more open because they don't know the difference. What I will say is, me and Taryn, my wife named Taryn, me and Taryn never had our own children, but I love our niece. She just turned 17, Taylor. She's the example of what I would do with my child. That's why I love Taylor, because she's all I had for so many years. But it's like, she's 17 years old. She's in Baltimore City, one of the worst areas in the world as far as. So she's in Baltimore City, but she's at the top of her grade as far as learning. She speaks 4 languages. Next year, she's going to go to Korea. It's going to be paid for by me and Taryn. We have a business with her. So the financial part, she's going to be good to go. But outside of that, she's a business owner. She hires her own classmates because when she was 8, we gave her Rich Dad Poor Dad for Kids. And every time she read a page, we talk about it. And every time she read a page, we talk about it. So what you're saying, starting them young and being able to like captivate their mind. Well, what does asset mean? What does liability mean? Uncle Sean, what, like, her questions were like, they were better than my like people I was mentoring. I'm like, yo, you need to be with me on the calls, girl. But what I realized is, what, to y'all point, when you pour into the children early, man. So when her friends come across her and they from Baltimore City and they don't have the same Uncle Sean who has the books and everywhere I go, she's able to put them on and give them, you know, because I always give people books. So she got a bunch of books that I've given her. She don't as much give them information as much as she gives them books. He gave me this book. Take this book. That's real. She wouldn't be able to do that if me and my wife didn't pour into her. So I'm a believer of that. But there has to be something after that. We have to still
that, which is cool. We, like I said, we have to master that. Then we can come together and start to strategically say, okay, we're going to do this, and this.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's not a defeatist mindset, because all the kids that I work with in the school district, half of my kids, and because they were half the population was black. Half of the population, all of them graduated senior year because of me. Because I found a different way for them to be in a non-traditional classroom, get the same education, and be able to compete.
Yeah.
But I had to learn how to do that myself. I can't just say, well, you ain't going to the school board meeting, so this shit ain't gonna work. I'm not ready for that. I'm gonna go in and look stupid, and I'm gonna keep affirming the stereotype that niggas don't know nothing. Literally, niggas don't, like, that's dumb to me.
Niggas don't learn.
I got you. I'm not gonna be able to compete. So pouring into kids is important, but you have to master yourself first before you can do that. And then we can create a snowball effect, and then we could do this. We're jumping straight to we got to go out in the streets and protest. No, you got to choose a better career. You need to be a lawyer. You need to be a police officer. We need to change perspectives first before we just decide that we have to go out there and look stupid. The BLM march and the protests in 2020, stupid. They look like a bunch of monkeys, a circus. And I stand on that. And anybody that got a problem with it, I don't care. Look like a bunch of monkeys in the street.
They white supremacy.
Because we was doing crazy shit for no reason.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Like, we got to stop with this rhetoric that if you don't go, then you're this, you're that. And it's like, bro, I'm doing the same thing you're doing. I'm just taking a little bit longer. You see the effects maybe faster because you're complaining about it. But for me, I'm like, I'm doing long term. I want this to be a long term thing. Definitely. And that's it.
BLM may earn so much money, man. And I just, even though I just wish that one person in that organization had a good heart for black people. I wish, because all the money that came in, with 10% of what they got, with 8%, man, they should have been able to open community centers in neighborhoods and do STEM programs and have tutors and like. But of course, white supremacy is white supremacy. So they got black faces, but they got white supremacy rhetoric and mindset. So that's my point.
We got to learn how to call, and this is the last point. We got to learn how to call bullshit for what it is. We got to stop.
That's what I be doing.
We got to stop endorsing because it's black. Black this. Listen, I only had probably 3 professors in my whole entire college career, and I've gone to prestigious universities.
Yeah.
All of them. Only one out of all of them.
Yeah.
Well, talk to me like we was on the street.
Yeah.
And in class, he talked regular, right?
Yeah.
Then we talk a different language. You feel me? And then we have to stop letting media, social media, sports take us away from the mission. Everybody wants to be a rapper, athlete, or some type of music producer. We have to stop glorifying those damn things. I don't care if you gave your kid 10,000 books. I don't give a damn. They're looking at the books and saying, "Well,
I see this one.
These niggas ain't out here reading this. Yeah. They got money. They got cars. Yeah. They going to Fiji. Like, come on, bro.
Back to my original point. Yeah. And I think everybody in the music business is broke. They don't have no money. All them rappers they don't have money.
I think some of those points that have been talked about earlier, I think they were flawed, because you have to consider more than just the macro. It's micro and mental. And this is coming from somebody in mental health. Me and Fitz know this. We know about human behavior. We're experts in human behavior. So when we say this stuff, it sounds crazy as hell. But evidence-based practice is what we do. And it shows this, and this. That's why we can say niggas ain't shit. That's why we can say that.
That's why I can say white supremacy ain't shit, and white people they're not better than us, because I'm the ways that I've been, the rooms that I've been in, I'm not impressed by the white people that's in the rooms with me. The only difference that between me and them is they've had more opportunities than I've had. They've had more information than I've had, but they're not better.
But here's the thing: here's what I've learned in my career. They get complacent, and with people of color, especially black people, we scream resilience, we scream strong. So I'm already knowing that I'm better than these people when I walk into the room. It does not matter what type of opportunities they had, what type of, I don't care if they had 20 years of experience. I haven't had much experience in my career, and I'm out here whooping ass with these other therapists who have been here 10 plus years. They coming to me for questions. Yeah. It's because I mastered this shit. I put the time in.
My hope is that you and Fitz, and I'm just saying that, but I'm speaking, I guess, for what you just said, that there was somebody in Maryland, and I'm not cool with him no more. I should give him a call because I'm concerned about his family. His father was the second rated psychiatrist in Maryland when we were friends, 2011 through 2015. And every time I would go to his house, his dad would come out the room, wave, and go back into his office. And I'd be like, yo, what why don't your dad come out and rap? You know, like it's family. And he said, man, I feel so bad for my dad. He earns so much money, but he's a slave to his job. And that's the one. And then he said, I never want to be like him. This is his father, Haitian immigrant. So started off poor, worked himself up to top psychiatrist in Maryland. The point to me is that the specialized wisdom was great with I won't say his last name, with my friend's father. Specialized. He didn't know business. And because he didn't know business, he built himself up to the point where he couldn't retire because he was the business. So my speech, now that I'm in business and I understand how to form, is like when people have the information, partner with somebody that understands the business, train people up, create your own curriculum for your company, train people up, and that way you can at some point retire yourself, because like Mr. I won't say his name, but he earns so much money, but he, like my friend said, he can never retire. He makes $237,000 a year, and this was 2011. I don't know what he make now, but I checked on. I was hustling. I was looking. I was spying on IG, and his dad is still working. It's 2024, and his dad is still working. So I'm assuming he probably earns more. But all I receive from that when I see his dad as a psychiatrist is, man, he's an overpriced slave, and not slave like field picked rice, you know. But I mean, like, he's a corporate slave. He can't retire himself. I want to encourage us to understand how to build business, how to not be a self-employed, a dentist, a psychiatrist, or this or that, a lawyer. Do a law firm. Create your own firm. Hire people, train them, get HR, get your. That way, if something ever happens to you, or you want to just walk off and go into the sunset, you've hired people just like you that have the same mindset because it's your curriculum. That's much to what we all saying, even with the school. I love that for business. When we have our own curriculum for business, that's, people aren't as passionate as I am, but to get hired with my company, they got to go to the home office in Columbia. So they have to go through my way of, like, you know, so I'm saying that to you and whoever else may see it, man, get specialized wisdom. But if you don't have the time to learn business, because this is real, people that get specialized wisdom don't know business. That's not a slight. That's how this works. Hire somebody or get contract somebody to help you structure a business. Because the last thing I want is a whole bunch of black people that can't retire. Because now we just like the same way we are now, high price employed.
And I want to give an example because I know Fitz has to go. There's a school.
Sorry, Fitz.
It's not even a school. There's it's a school, but it's like it's an academy that's starting to go around to multiple states. It's called Apogee Strong. It's APOGEE Strong, and it's outside of Texas. And Tim Kennedy is one of the founders, former military dude, Green Beret. He's all these things. and they started the school doing everything that we're talking about. And they're projected to have by I think it's 2025. He said over 400 schools in multiple states that are teaching the things that we're talking about today. So I encourage people to look into that. That's a blueprint that we could use, but we're too focused on, white men. Listen, it exists. I'm never going to dismiss that it don't exist. Well, what the hell am I going to do to battle it? I need an army to battle it. I can't just do that by myself. Look. Hey, prime example, Malcolm X and the Fruit of Islam. They were so scared of him. Scared shitless. Dude basically had his own military, bro. His own military.
Well, we killed him. I'm saying we as black people. See how it ended? Cold-blooded.
You gotta run down. But look, we'll have to talk about this another time. I do have to go, but I want to give a shout out to all the viewers. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all for getting on. Make sure you hit the like button, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff.
Run that subscription up, baby.
Yeah.
Yep. And
806.
We'll see you in the comments. Great conversation today, and appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
All right, bro.
Peace.